Good morning, traders. Guess who's back feeling good and in the hot seat? You know who it's at. It's Money Mitch, and it's exciting because it's another day here at Trade the Pool. Another opportunity to continue pushing forward in our trading skills. And I'm excited, guys. I'm ready to take my trading skills to a new level. You know, we just went on this tour. I hope you guys were able to tune in. We went to Canada, we went to the Money Show, and that just showed me more and more. It's time to step it up, and I think that, really when you start to think about your trading, you're going to go through ruts, you're going to go through periods where you learn. And I think I'm at this point where I know the game. It's time to just believe and trust in your skills, the time that you've put in, all the chart watching, all the pattern development, system development. I mean, the truth is, it's time to hone in and take bigger and bigger shots. Now, the key is, how do we do this? We're going to talk all about it today. We're going to keep talking about it because I think this is the biggest conundrum that traders face. It's not just on the limited risk side. It's about using the capital that we have, especially in the prop side of things, to what? Expand the return, right? But we can't go out of our skis. We got to keep in mind it's always about risk and return. And we got to sometimes play at a size that can work for us, right? It's about finding that balance. We'll talk about that balance. We'll take a look at what's going on in the market and why I think today could be the start of another rally. We have had some stocks that have come down. We've even had some areas that look like bear markets now. We'll talk all about it. We'll go through different areas of the market. We can get to the playbook. We can look at plays that we can watch today. We can also talk about the earnings reports that have been out. Netflix out there, right? And different reports that we can dive into. It's, of course, Trade the Pool. Let's keep going. Let's get to some of the stock trading action. Let's first take a look at the overall market, right? That's where we got to always start and see, why do I feel like this could be the start of a bigger breakout? Well, let's take a look here. Of course, I'm gonna put this as big as I can. Let's go ahead and just make this big here. And you guys can see, we're kind of just riding this trend higher. And as long as this white line, and I'm going to make it like a red line so that we can really stand it out away from all these other white lines, right? As long as we can continue to push off of these levels, that's exactly what we need to be seeing. And every time we pull back to that, we just don't want to break down, right? So until that moment happens, I can continue playing upside momentum. And so at this point, I think that we're just leaving ourselves room for another weekly breakout, right? And I'm looking at the weeklies, not the dailies, because the weeklies will help you distinguish this out, right? Always work backwards, not forward, right? So we're starting on the weeklies. We could go monthly even, but I feel like for day traders, that gets them a little bit too on edge, right? So we can clearly see this like 671 area has also been really pesky. So let's go to the daily. Let's see a little bit closer at what we're seeing this moment right now. So as you can see here on the daily, we can see a little bit more of that congestion, right? And you can see, of course, the recent downfalls coming from Trump talking and kind of, changing the mentality up of the China deal and what's eventually really going to happen with that China deal and all that kind of conversation, right? So I think that just created opportunities for down dips, right? And you can see the volume that's come in, and a lot of volume has come in. And it's actually given the MACD and the RSI an ability to tame itself. And those are the types of things that we need to look at, right? We did get this opportunity where we were back at RSI 88, and now we went down on that first dip to RSI 40, and we're hanging out at the 50s. This tells me more and more. Sideways action is not a bad thing. It gives it an ability to juice up and get ready for another cross. So here's the MACD, and you can see how it's starting to get ready for another cross. So now we need to look to see if we get momentum and another push higher. I think another thing to look at is to just really look at the Bollinger Bands, right? And we started to get a little bit of a compression, and now it's actually expanding. You can see the top line kind of curving to the upside here. And I think this leaves room for us to make an attempt to the Bollinger Band If not, maybe make an attempt to break a little bit above the Bollinger Band. So if we can make just that move today, that could be a nice little, let's say, 4 points run, 0.63% from here, which would bring us to the 677 and close to the 680 breakout. So let's see if we can actually get that type of move here. And who knows, maybe we actually make a good play here off of that, right? So with that being said, we can take a look at different stocks and areas that we can get after, right? First one up, let's bring in, of course, none other than the fake meat, but real momentum here. That's what we're going to call this move, as Beyond Meat just continuing to just chug along. I talked about it yesterday. This is not a stock that you want to get in front of. Why? Because it can just continue to rip higher, especially after hours and in the pre-market. This got as high as $9 and it's holding 7 right now. Could reclaim 7 and start to get 750, 8, 9, 10, right? And above. So I think in this case, you really kind of keep your eyes on this name. This could keep squeezing higher and higher. Of course, this would just be a day trade. You want to use deeper time frames to make sure that you're using some support, like this $6, clearly support. Now we're starting to reclaim it. We're almost to 7 right now. So this could go 750, 8 before the open. We'll see what happens here on Beyond Meat. All right, let's keep going with the next one. A little bit more serious play here. Let's go to Twist. I played this yesterday. Really good trade overall. Was able to cash, but not as much as I wanted to. Maybe just because this is more of a swing trade, right? This is what this is. This is more of a stock that's starting to turn trend, and I'm trying to catch more of the swing. If we start with the weekly, you can clearly see how this has been developing, and you can draw a trend line from here. And I'm looking for this to actually get back all the way over here, right? And so at this point, we've created that basing bottom, right? Now we're starting to really turn the MACD, RSI at 46, starting to peak to the upside also, giving me all the signs that this is a nice weekly kind of breakout, right? And so the key, first, we need to clear this area that creates a little bit of a pocket of void. But if we can clear that area and really start holding 35, that's when I think this stock could go 40, 46, 50 in a hurry. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in Twist. I'll continue to play it. I'm really going to be looking at like kind of the 30-minute chart, a 15-minute. I normally use the 15 a lot more, but I'm trying my best to go further and further in time, even 30-minute charts in the day trading action. Because my idea is to do more and more day trades where I'm catching the support, riding it up in the intraday, selling a majority of the position, maybe holding the smallest bit because in the day trade accounts, I only got 10% overnight, and then maybe riding those positions out. The idea though is to get the majority of it in the day trade, right? And in the long account, right, in the swing account, that's where I can go after these also. I can take swings on these and go for some bigger wins. Right now, of course, you guys know I'm bouncing back from being sick, so I'm still keeping the swing account on the sideline just for another couple days, right? One thing I know that happens often is when I come back from not trading often, I want to do what? I want to trade often. And that's not the recipe for success in the swing account. The swing account, I want to be more and more limited in taking those opportunities that I have those high conviction. Day trade, I can take more opportunities because I'm essentially just jumping on the intraday chart, right? All right, we'll see what happens on some other action there, but Twist definitely in play today. CRM, our big call from yesterday, could continue to run today. We'll see how this name kind of pushes. But what I'm looking for is some sympathy play in the space in software overall. So I think you could look at Oracle to maybe get a little bit of a lift. But I'm not watching Oracle. I'm watching Unity here as a different one to take a look at. I like this approach on the weekly, right? This has gotten a nice little breakout, came back into the area, has been down for about 4 weeks. Now is having a green week, but still not a breakout, right? It's still like kind of hanging in between the top side of this 3870 and the bottom side of this 3404. So now I just want to see the compression kind of work in and maybe do a couple of undercuts and then really rally. So right now that level is 36 for me, right? You can see we came off of that. We kind of broke back above the 36. Now I want to see a break below 36, not break 35.50, and then start to recover back through 36. That's going to be the sign of entry here for Unity today. We'll see if we're able to capture that on the intraday action. And who knows? This is more of your swing style also, because you're using the opportunities to get the best risk to return, risk about $1 or $2, and look to make what? At least 5 to 1. I'm starting to step it up on the swing side to 5 to 1. Right? I used to be more 3 to 1, and I'm not even pushing that. On the day trade, I'm going to stay 3 to 1, but I'm going to take 3 to 1s more often. This is the next step up in my journey that I need to go ahead and step up in. And it's okay to continue battling and trying to work the positioning game like I've talked about, stepping up in size when you want to put on the gas pedal. But the idea here is making sure that we're taking the cash on the risk to return, especially in a day trade account. I realize more and more in the day trade account how important it is to just take those simple step ups and continue moving daily, because it's a daily trading account, right? So the idea is just to continue in the green and continue the equity curve. We're going to run into the bigger winners, and we're going to keep taking those 3 to 1 returns. All right, guys, we'll see what's going on out there. Unity looking good. We'll see what happens with some other trades in the market, and continue to watch some software application names. This isn't the only name that I think can go in software. I like Uber back above 94s, right? This could get a little bit of a lift and then really start to climb right back up, right? So we'll see what happens there in Uber if it starts to climb through 94s and 95s, 96, and other areas. Unity, I do need to kind of set an alert here. Let me go ahead and make sure I have my alert set, because one of the things that you really get frustrated is missing trades because you just didn't see it. And the only way to avoid that is to set alerts, guys. So if your alerts aren't good, well, guess what? You're going to miss the trade. And missing trades sometimes can really frustrate you. And the frustration actually leaks into your next trade. And you don't want that, right? We don't want that leaking mentality into the next trade. All right, so let's get back to the action. Of course, we can get to the sunrise report to take a look at what stocks are moving in the market today. There's still a lot of earnings reports that maybe I'm not going to be able to get through all of them, but we could also take a different approach, right? I can also just bring up kind of the earnings hub. I like using the earnings hub to kind of describe some of these. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the sunrise report. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on in the market and what's happening this morning. All right, first up, let me actually pull this up here because I have it on the right-hand side, but I didn't have it on the main on my prompter screen here. There it is. Got it going there. Let me close up some screens here. Chrome taking over the world, man. I mean, Chrome just destroys computers, but we won't get into that. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on out there. What happened here? Okay, there it is. Oh, man. Oh, good Lord. There's always somebody that messes with my doc. I think this was Angelo. He probably did it on accident. I don't know how he messes it up, but okay. So just give me a second here, man. I hate when this happens live because you guys know I have it ready to go. It's just more I give people access to use this, and then it kind of gets messed up sometimes. But hey, that's life, man. Let me try to fix this up here. 851. I'm gonna have to pull it from chat. Let me just pull it from Chat GPT here. Just give me a second, guys. The problem is it's on the wrong Chat GPT, different profile, but we'll just pull it up here, guys. All right, sunrise report. It's time. Sorry about the struggle there. It shouldn't be a struggle, but Somebody, I won't name who, messed up my doc. All right, so futures are easing after record highs. U.S. stock futures slipped Wednesday, of course, as Wall Street took a breather following a record-breaking driven by strong corporate earnings. Right, the Dow futures were down a little bit there. Nasdaq was down a little bit. But Netflix was really the one that tumbled 7% after its earnings miss, tied to an unexpected Brazilian tax expense. So that's what actually hurt Netflix to that level. We'll see what happens there in Netflix. Netflix down there towards 1,046. Let's take a look at that chart, see how it's reacting off of this. And you can see it's still on the leak there. We'll see what happens. Of course, it's Netflix. I never get too bearish on Netflix. People get bearish on Netflix all the time. Oh, man, it's woke. It's woke. It's going away. Nah. It's Netflix, man. It's never going away. It's gonna figure a way out always. And one of the things that people forget is that Netflix is gonna have a lot more live streaming sports. And I've talked about how we're really kicking off into that era of live streaming sports. Apple doing the buyout of the rights for Formula One. Right, so on Apple TV, you'll be now being able to watch all the Formula One races, and things like that are going to continue to happen. But Netflix, of course, taking a big hit there. Netflix dropped 7% in the extended trading after streamers missed the Q3 earnings expectations, citing that 10% Brazilian tax on certain cross-border payments. The company was forced to expense this quarter. Absent this expense, we would have exceeded our Q3 operating income and margin forecast, said the CFO Spence Newman. Q3 results. EPS 5.87 versus the expected that was 6.97. So big miss there. Revenues, though, right in line, essentially. They reported net income of $2.55 billion, up from $2.36 billion years ago. So guess what? They're still being able to find money, guys. So the revenue climbed 17% year over year, powered by subscriber growth, prices increase, and ad tier momentum. Of course, Netflix really kind of turned things around and kind of helped themselves out with the password sharing and cutting down of that. So that's really helped out, right, in the long run. Netflix also highlighted that it was its best ad sale quarter year and plans to double ad revenue this year. So that's also a good sign. That means that their lower tier with the ads is still seeing subscribers run too. Expanding consumer product partnerships with Hasbro, Mattel, K-pop Demon Hunters. So it looks like there's been some shows that are being created specifically to highlight Hasbro and Mattel toys. Upcoming releases include the Stranger Things final season for Stranger Things, The Diplomat S2, A Wake Up Dead Man, and Knives Out of Misery. I don't understand what that is. I know they got a whole bunch of horror movies now, and everyone loves these mystery horrors. I don't understand it. But hey, that's what they're watching on Netflix, so keep eyes to see what happens there. Of course, Beyond Meat skyrocketing as the meme frenzy returns and continues. It continues to push higher, and I even saw a big shorter that was just pretty much caught underwater, and I don't even understand. It looks like it was a hedge fund manager or an ex-hedge fund manager. I don't understand these guys. If you're short Beyond Meat here, like, you're doing it all wrong, man. Like, I remember when I was talking shorting Beyond Meat at 200, not shorting it here at $2 or whatever it was. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Mattel misses expectations. Mattel drops 7%. Let's take a look at that. That's MAT, but it's already recovered. Look at that, man. Look at that wick. It was a wick on the first action. It went down to 14.49, but it's right back. So I wouldn't really be too worried about that drop. It reported an EPS of 89 cents. The expected was $1.07, and revenues at $1.74 billion to $1.83 billion. So despite weakness, Mattel's Barbie and Hot Wheel lines remain stable ahead of the holiday season, but analysts see inventory overhang as a key concern. Western Alliance also rallying on their beat, though. Here's WAL getting a little bit of a nice little jump there. This is a regional bank, so good to hear at least some regional bank getting a little lift. We'll see if the KRE can actually push with this mention. Of course, recent regional banks scaring that really was a little bit overblown early on. And that's how it usually is. It's overblown early on. We'll see if something actually breaks here. DraftKings expanding its footprint. Let's take a look there. DraftKings getting a little bit of a bounce back here. And we were all very concerned about what's going on with this whole predictions platform. And does this really have the strength to stay competing against some of these major players? Well, DraftKings said, you know what? It's as simple as this. We're announcing the acquisition and prediction platform of Railbird, strengthening its sports analytics and social betting ecosystem. The deal underscores DraftKings' continued expansion into AI-driven predictive tools and fan engagement products, key differentiators in the competitive betting space. So DraftKings taking a big step up and getting a predictive market. What does it do? It just puts all that predictive market conversation to the sideline. So I think in the long run, I think this is a good move there for DraftKings. Now, the only question is, can it actually get some buying momentum? We'll see what happens. I do think that I could look to see this start to get a little bit of buying. I'd look at the monthlies. You guys know how I like to go a little bit further back. You can see kind of this is the support area. If the buyers do want to come in, this might be the area that they can start to nibble a little bit. We'll see what happens there. And then what's next, right? Well, Tesla is what's next. And we'll be watching to see what happens there on Tesla as they got the earnings after the bell and the first of the Magnificent Seven to report this cycle. With more than 75% of S&P 500 companies beating the estimates, investors hope still strong results, right, from the mega caps. And yeah, if the mega caps kind of lead this fuel higher, well, then this rally could just be getting started also, right? I think we're in a move where the big cap boys are going to show us if we want to continue hot for the rest of the year. We'll see what happens there. There's ISRG, which is a name that I was looking at just yesterday, and before the earnings. But I was watching this because I thought that this was a really good AI healthcare stock, right? And then now you're getting this type of move. It's a big, big lift. So now I'd be looking for comebacks towards like 500, but this is a big push there. ISRG, nice move. And it doesn't mean it needs to stop today, right? It could go maybe to like 600 and then trickle down. So we'll see what happens on that one. I don't think I'll be betting too much on ISRG, but in the long-term account, this is definitely something that I want to think about adding to the long term. Because this whole robotic surgery move, I think it's an actual big move in the long run that could make some big changes in healthcare. We'll see what happens, right? So this on a monthly basis tells me to look for pullbacks into the 500 or 520 area. We'll see what happens there in ISRG. All right, that's going to do it for the Sunrise Report. We'll kick it off to the showtime. It's time to get to the trading side of things, guys. And I got a lot to talk about with Michael. You guys know it'll be a fun show like always. We'll be taking a look around to see what types of themes are still staying hot. Where could we look for some trades? Of course, it seems like the metals and minerals have fallen off fast, right? It's been like a 50% haircut faster than you can know it. But we always said that from the very beginning. These stocks were moving with what? Momentum. And as momentum comes in, momentum comes out. So it's always about staying with, like I talk about, the flavor of the day. Where's the ice cream going? Well, we'll find out on the show. It's time for Trade the Pool. Let's get it started.
Wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
All right, let's get it started. Let's bring on the man himself, Michael Noss. What's going on, man?
Not too much. looking at the market, we're
Perfect.
still
Perfect day yesterday. I think it's actually a good day. I'm really thinking that it's time to break this range to the upside because I love when things get small at the top.
mm,
Small at the top to me tells me that the Bears they couldn't put any fight yesterday. They were hoping and praying on what Donald Trump comments to bring this market down, and Donald Trump can't bring it down anymore. At least for the time being, he's just going to keep back and forth washing the comments. I think we look for a continued breakout, especially if we can get a good report from Tesla tonight. But of course, that's coming tonight, right? So I think we got to
yeah.
look to see what happens. But the setup's there, I think, for a move to like maybe 680. Like it doesn't need to go too far. And I think 700 is still at play for this year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's one of those things where we have no economic numbers because the government
Yeah.
shut down. So the
Yeah.
only thing that the market can really look at is what are these earnings report, right? Netflix
hmm
missed a little bit, but
Well,
right,
we are going to
who
get
cares
this
about
CPI
Netflix? But
report Friday. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see
are
that
we now?
report. We are, Michael. We're getting it on
Where
Friday.
where are we
Um,
getting that from?
That's the fun part. That's the fun
Like what?
part. A lot of
Who's
people have
doing it?
like this question of how the hell did they get the numbers?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Who
Where did they get this data from? And how accurate is this CPI report going to be? But that's
can't
Friday's
be
worry.
can't be any less accurate than the rest of them. Right? None of these things seem
You
to
know
make
how it
any
is,
sense.
man. But hey,
Right?
that's gonna be on Friday. We'll worry about that when it comes. And the government shutdown still going on. It seems incredible. I actually have a friend just not working. He's furloughed. Well, not friend, brother-in-law. That's
Yeah.
not working right now. He's in the space side of things. And
Okay.
what ended up happening is they, unless you're mission critical, like you're like on like this big project, like your critical side of the business, then you're still working. But a lot of the engineers, the background engineers, the ones that pretty much do the real work,
Mhm.
they're kind of furloughed right now. So it's a tough area to be in, and we'll see finally if the government finally gets its act together and finally wants to come back together and go to work. They're just using it as a long vacation, I'm pretty sure. But
Yeah. No,
hey,
absolutely. And the Kelshi odds say what 42 days or so right now is what the betting
oh,
markets are showing.
oh,
So
speaking of betting markets, did you see DraftKings dip their toe and buy a betting market themselves?
they have to, right? Why does this company need to exist with
That's all you
Kelshi
do,
and
right?
Polymarket and whatever? They have to they've got to keep up. Like why would
You
I have a
right?
specific sports betting account where if I have like a Kalshi account I can bet on because now Kalshi released this morning that it's now the official partner for the NFL. So, I can do all my betting in one place. So these guys, yeah, they really need to keep up. They've been behind the ball on this one for sure.
But not even though. I don't think they're behind the ball. I think they were waiting to see if this was even going to like bring money, right? Like there's a whole nother thing of, oh yes, there's a lot of different bets on there, but was it going to actually bring the bets? I think they waited long enough. They bought it out and they're good. They're set. They can do the same thing that Kelshi does, man. There's no competitive advantage that Kelshi has. I think DraftKings still has the competitive advantage here. I think they can do exactly now
Problem
what they can do now and then some. Because
you
I'll
know,
tell you right now, as a betting man, I don't like the predictive markets. I rather go bet on I beat the DraftKings odds all the time. I'm not the biggest fan of the 93 cent and the kind of the fluctuation of the way that can be manipulated. But hey,
well,
I
the
think
the more liquid it becomes, the less possibility for manipulation. But the problem is now is like, okay, so if Kalshi can do it all and DraftKings can do it all, then the difference will be a marketing war. And those are like not fun for anyone
and
because that just means
DraftKings
you're
already
throwing
does it.
so
It's
much.
already do this. They're like that type of company. It's like FanDuel, right? When we first got into the gambling space, and gambling kicked off, right, in the US, everyone used to say it like they're never going to stand to DraftKings pressure because the amount of advertising and money that they're willing to spend, their customer acquisition costs go so low, they don't really care. They really don't even care. They're just trying to stay alive. They just keep playing this dead cow game. So I
And
don't know, man.
that's what I'm worried about because I'm just looking at right just social media side
Yeah,
of things, and Kalshi is catching up. Right, they're right on the toes of if you just look at followers and engagement and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where there's no winner in a marketing war. It's because everyone just has to. Well, I guess the winner is the people who do the marketing because they
that's
get paid a
it.
whole bunch of money,
Yeah,
and then the
the
then the
marketing
losers are
companies.
these companies that right? Because there, and then it generally will come to some sort of stalemate where like Pepsi and Coke is, and that type of thing, where they don't really try to fight each other too much anymore because they just said it's not worth. We're okay splitting the market in half as opposed to constantly. I'm sure you remember in like
Hmm.
the
You know,
'90s and everything where they did the taste tests and all this crazy shit to try to convert one to the other. They're just not doing that anymore.
we're talking about these two here, Michael, but I wonder how this will affect, like, let's say, like a Robin Hood, right? Where Robin Hood was expecting to try to do this exact same thing, right? Um, so how would this affect Hood today? Will this be a negative for Hood? Could this
It
be a reason to
could.
come after Hood a
I
little
think
bit?
Hood is just for now at least just tied directly into whatever crypto is doing, right? They make
Okay.
if you look at where they make their money, yes, they have prediction markets. There's been a lot of talk about how instead of trying to do their own, they should just partner with
Yeah,
someone
partner with
else
one or buy
and
one.
just yeah, and just do one of those. But no, I think when it comes to it it could affect like future expectations, but when it comes to how they make money now, it's like mostly crypto and options betting
Mhm.
and that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I think for a hood predictor, you got to look at what Bitcoin as a whole is doing.
yeah. I mean, the brokerage accounts, the brokerage like area has been hot for a little while here. I think that was partly also just because there's probably a lot of traders even coming back to the markets, right? The ones that got hit in the bear market of kind of 2022 and 2023 in there. They came back. They started to, everyone's buying the dip again. And when your gas station guy starts talking to you about stock trading, they're coming back, right? And so that's usually
Mhm.
signs of worry, but we won't get into that until we actually worry about them. But that tells me more and more that I think that's also what's helping these brokerages get the lift. They're just seeing customer base kind of increase. Hood, of course, came out with that credit card, and people were viewing it as such like a social status. Oh, I got Robinhood Gold card. It's like, dude, you signed up for a card.
The what's interesting is to see the kind of dichotomy from I read this whole report about the brokers where you have Robinhood growing very well and their investors are very bullish and buying stocks, and then when you go to one of the more old man brokers like a Schwab, it's kind of the complete opposite. They're stagnant, and if you kind of look at the sentiment and the trading activity of their people, they're more net sellers. So it's an interesting game where it's like the young people are excited for the markets, and then the more old people, and it could just be natural as you get older, it's time to sell some stuff to pay for your life, and you're no longer
Boomers.
working. Whatever. But
Boomers, man. Boomers that don't want to send. Boomers, guys, give it up. We're taking over. I don't care what you want or
yeah.
what you want to do. Time isn't on your side, and there's only a matter of time, man. To the young kids, come and take over, man. And the young kids, they want to play themes. They want to play trend trading. They
Hmm.
want to buy what's hot. They could care less if a sector is not doing anything. And there's always that like conversation of you want to get out of like the beta trader. You don't want to be such a beta trader, like so still focused on being in just like one area. But the truth is, that's what's been working in this market.
Hmm.
Like concentrating in, let's say, quantum or concentrating in nuclear plays. If you would have done that beginning of the year, it doesn't even matter if you get this downturn and you never sold. You're still probably deep into the green, right? And
Well,
so,
and we talked about it when we had the tariff tantrum, is that
yeah,
still we don't have new commitment traders data with the market close, but the the institutions, the big guys and the old guys, they sold. And then it was
yeah.
the young kids that were the more retail, the smaller accounts bought the dip. So one of those was very, very right. And the other one of those is very, very wrong. And I think I brought this up before too, where Citadel's up 5% this year. That is abysmal and embarrassing in this
Yeah.
market to be that underperforming. It's the joke is that most of the people that the Citadel is supposed to be buying the order flow from the dumb money at Robinhood, and most of that dumb money is doing way better on a return basis than the Citadel is, right? So
Oh,
at some point, I wonder when they kind of flip their models and say, "Listen, let's just do whatever the degen crowd is doing, and try to ride on their coattails because whatever they're doing right now, yeah, that's a for this particular year, that is 5% is an abysmal performing. That's like you should, you're going to get a lot of investors kind of packing up and going somewhere else and saying, if in this rampant bull market you can't even match market returns, what are you doing?
looks like I just got some. Well, it's not. I wouldn't say breaking news, but there's some breaking, somewhat news out there about WBD rejecting Paramount takeout orders. Looks like Paramount was trying to buy it, and it seems like the last one for just under 24 per share. So right now trading at 21. So you could see Warner Brothers get a little lift off of this. It just did like a weird 15-minute candle on like kind of a wick down, wick up. One of those where it's just telling you that volatility is going to increase here. It doesn't tell you that it's going up or down. But some type of volatility should probably increase here as you look to see what happens there in
Hmm.
Warner Brothers. And I still remember
Yeah,
when Warner Brothers was like $10, man. This thing would not have been a bad investment around 10.
it's such weird news when you kind of put yourself up for sale like that, because in one respects you're kind of tapping out. Like you're
Yeah,
admitting defeat. You're like,
they're
listen, we
tapping
we
out.
suck. We can't compete with these guys. We're, if you go in a long-term chart of this, imagine being like a long-term investor on this is a monthly chart and you're
I
still
always
at the
thought
same
this was
price
going
you
to
were
be
in
a good deal,
2010.
just mentioning that, but
Yeah, it's
it's a,
not.
it's a tough one. It's a tough one, man.
Yeah. Well, and it's yeah, so it's two worlds where one of those is where, yeah, you're tapping out, you're saying your business sucks and you can't grow it anymore, but you could get bought out for a pretty decent price. Now, if you're putting yourself up for sale like that, you're not going to get a huge premium. Usually, the biggest premiums on buyouts happen when it's like a surprise. Your company's creating a new drug or something, and a bigger company comes along and says, "We think this drug is going to make billions over the years, so we're going to pay double your market cap or whatever."
Hmm.
As soon as you get put up for sale, you're kind of you're not negotiating from a point of strength. I guess you could put it that way. You're negotiating from a point of weakness. So maybe a little bit like a 10 or 20% premium or something like that, but you're not going to get like a double out of WBD now that it's selling.
Yeah, I think what they realize more and more is just like to really compete with like an Apple or a Netflix or Disney that create these such, let's say, high-ended um, originals, right? Because that's the key here, right? It's how much do you spend on originals? That's where Warner Brothers struggled. That's where Warner Brothers just didn't know how to put the gas pedal to play. They did do a couple of kind of shows that did well, and they get like movies on there, right? Because it's Warner Brothers, right? It's going to get the movies. But they didn't do good with the TV side of things and like kind of the combination of that, right? The discovery
Yeah.
part of this, right? So I think that that's where they got it wrong. They waited too long to pull kind of discovery and all that TV off. And it's just not as viewed as highly as it used to be. Like a lot of people used to watch Food Network and Discovery and all that, but it's just not as popular as it was.
Man, they
So
have 70 billion of net cash, and that's a that's a line item for Apple, right? Apple, their Apple TV just hemorrhages money, but they can throw it out there and say, let's, make these
Can't
these
compete.
programs. Because yeah, you can just it's they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll lose $10 billion a quarter on making shows, and that's fine. It gets them in our ecosystem. It gets them
No.
buying the products and whatever, so they don't care. And when you're a smaller company like this, yeah, you just can't. They can't. These guys can't throw $10 billion a quarter into making
No.
some really cool content. They just
Like
can't do it.
and then also they can't miss. That's the thing, right? Apple and Netflix can miss on that
Hmm.
spend, on that money spent. If they miss just on one of their originals, it's like a disaster. It is just like, what did we just do? We just put ourselves down in the hole, in the gutter, and that's exactly what happened with these. I'm actually interested. Next year they're going to come out with a Harry Potter series. Warner Brothers will. So
Let's see.
Paramount can buy this. Maybe that's why they want it, because they see maybe potential of what's coming forward. That's going to
Well,
be an
that's usually
original
what it's going to be.
series that will be
Yeah, it's like,
interesting.
what do they own the rights to? That will be the biggest thing, right? If they own the
Yep.
rights to some decent IPs, then maybe it's
Harry
worthwhile. But
Potter, man.
yeah,
That's
if
that's
they
not a
own the
bad
rights
one.
to it, then
Yeah,
yeah, you can
that's not a bad
make
one
a
to
good
own the
cut.
rights to, right? And you can make new originals from that, right? And I think that they're trying to push for that kind of mentality. All right, guys, let's go away from that story. Let's get to some different stocks out there. We can talk what's moving out there.
I
Man,
think
it's a fun time. What are you seeing?
just a quick look at the market. Right, this is the last. If you go from Monday after that opening drive until now, we've been just trapped inside this range. So just don't get too excited on any kind of drop or any kind of pop until we clear this, call it 672, 673 kind of zone. That's what I'm looking at, is that, and then it's a straight shot to 674, which is all-time highs. So if we're at the high end of the range now. So if we can get some really good, strong opening movement, might be something to kind of punch into just for a quick scalp or some momentum trade, just because there's probably a lot of people who've been betting trying to that we're not going to hit that high. So, and it's just been, again, you can just see the range bound action. Yesterday we did pretty much nothing, just up and down action, but bumping our head against there. And then also the support has held really well. So it's not too often we have super clean areas of support and resistance, like
Mhm.
very, very clean here. So that to me makes it so that that everyone is watching when they're this
Well,
clean. Everyone was watching this zone.
here's one name that I think can help the party today. Microsoft just breaking in pre-market high there, looking really strong today. I think this is the chart that
Mm.
you really look forward to, maybe getting a pre-earnings run here. So Microsoft definitely one that I'll be watching here to see if it starts to perk back above 525. It's right now 521, but I could see it getting to 525 in a hurry, and maybe to 530s quickly here, guys. I think this is one that we still look at that earnings peak. That's that left peak to the left-hand side. That was on the recent earnings, and the earnings were never bad. They really weren't bad. It just was just, I guess, just didn't kill it or do it
Mhm.
as well. You can throw whatever narrative you want there, but the only truth is that the numbers weren't
Well,
bad.
it's
And
profit taking from,
yeah,
right. Well, look at
profit
what
taking,
led up
right?
to
I
it.
mean,
This was
exactly, right?
this was an insane just grind higher. So from this earnings report to that earnings report, is up 50%, and a
Yeah.
huge company like that, and 50% in a straight line. So yeah, I look at that and say you had a nice gap up because the earnings were good. And then there was probably just so many people that were like, man, I made 50% this quarter.
Hmm.
It's time to ring the register. It's time to take some profits. That
Yeah.
caused a little bit of a pullback, and now we're just inside this base. A nice looking
Yeah.
chart here.
Give a
This
nice
way.
chance for the weekly Bollinger Bands to kind of contract, create that contraction again, and then look for another expansion, right? So
Hmm.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's the big boys, right? We got to continue to watch these big boys here to see if they rally. Google right off the weekly highs also. So I think, these are the type of names you look at. Google is right there, ready for another rally, right? And
I was actually going to
yesterday,
buy for the long-term account today, because this sell-off yesterday happened because ChatGPT released their browser. I
Mm-hmm.
downloaded it. It sucks. Like, I'm using what you're seeing right now is the Perplexity browser,
Mm-hmm.
but they have like tab groups and like lots of cool features and things. Then I downloaded the ChatGPT browser and it's absolute garbage. It's like Chrome, but they took a bunch of the stuff out of it. So yeah, I was like, man, if it was going to open in this range, I was going to buy a bunch more and say
Yeah,
this was
that was a
just
great
overdone.
opportunity, right? Great opportunity. And I always like to say they like to dip them before they rip them. And these types
Mhm.
of moments are where they wash out the weak hands. Anybody that got weak yesterday is mad today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you could just go on Twitter, you're gonna find them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So let's see if Google rips higher, Microsoft rips higher, will Tesla rip higher before the report? I would love to know those numbers. Those types of things are interesting to know, like how Tesla actually does on their earnings day, right? Those types of things are
Mhm.
pretty cool to do research on.
Just
But
look at the last couple. So that was down, that was flat, right? And the best way to look at it, that was down, is just look at the little bit of a gap up there. The market maker move, and I think
Mhm.
Pack has this, is
Yeah,
that the because the market makers have already done the studies and they know
yeah.
roughly how much the move will be.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think the market maker move is really tiny. I think it was only
The
like
implied?
20 or
It was
30 points.
small?
Yeah, the implied move. So they're not expecting a huge deal here,
Yeah, maybe
but
like
that's fine.
470 or something like that comes into
Well,
play, right where the
yeah, and
resistance is at.
if you look at the long-term chart, this is exactly the price action you want to see. You made this huge round trip from getting cut, since the election. Remember, a lot of people forget, it's down like 60% Tesla.
Yeah.
And then it rebounds, so it essentially doubles off its low, and now you're back to that all-time high. It makes perfect sense that you're just going to consolidate for a period of time after hitting that new all-time high. Just chill out for a little bit, calm down, and then when you have this base built underneath that you can break, right? And again,
Oh,
I always like to use Robinhood as example. And it did this huge, it's a massive version, but did this huge kind of rounded bottom when it came back to that all-time high, did a bunch of sideways action and then finally broke. And this is kind of what I'm seeing in potentially in Tesla. Coinbase, same thing, really still doing that, where it got back to the all-time high, a little bit of pullback, and just consolidation for potential breakout. You don't want to see the things go. Again, last example, Ethereum, right? Hit this all-time high, like doubled to get there, and ever since then it hasn't moved. Right in August, it hit this all-time high, and really we're down like 20% from there. That's in the crypto world. That's absolutely nothing. So yeah,
yeah.
and it's Tesla's acting perfectly to me to just set up for a potential breakout maybe later in the year or something like that.
All right, we'll see what happens out there, guys. Going to continue battling, and one of the accounts that I'm battling with right now is I'm trying to get one of these 50K accounts. Right, I'm at 2,700, 2,709. Need to get to 3,000, so only less than 300 away from
Yellow.
another funded account. Right, so it's just time
Yeah.
to just continue to battle. Right, and that's why another reason why I'm keeping this swing on the side. Why not just focus on this, right? Keep things singular. Just try to nail this down. Then I'll have two funded accounts and we can really just have fun here, right? And just keep trading the funded accounts and work for another one, right? And I think that's the important thing, guys. Keep stacking up those funded accounts all you can because it's just going to give you more buying power to work with, more idea generation to work off of. And then from there, it's just about using our trading skills, right? We'll talk about it during the show. I do want to bring in even a conversation that we talk about all the time. Michael put out a nice tweet out on our WhatsApp, at least our company WhatsApp, that I think you guys should all listen to. So maybe a little bit later, maybe after like 10:30, we can actually play that here on stream for you guys to
Cool.
listen to it. And I think it's really beneficial for traders out there. And then maybe Michael and I can just have a little expanding conversation on that. All right,
Sure.
let's get towards the market, guys. It's 9:28. Gonna get you guys ready to go. Don't want to get you too late. Of course, 2 minutes before the bell here, about a minute 30 before the bell. Let's get ready to go. Know your names, right? Keep those alerts alive to catch what's moving and try to stay with the flavor, right? Like yesterday, I definitely say the best trade CRM without a doubt, right? I just stayed with
Hmm.
the strength. I jumped on it and I was able to make a good little $100 just from riding the momentum, right? It wasn't that I got the biggest part of the move, but still made money. We'll see what happens right now. I do see the VIX getting a little bit spiky there, but that's just always a lot of trappy action, right? So I think today, especially, you got to look forward to see what happens after like kind of the first 20, 30 minutes after the bell. We'll see what happens here. Let's get after it, traders. It's time to make some money.
Yeah, we're selling just a little bit of a tick down from that
Yeah.
pre-market high into the open.
I
And yeah,
like
we're
RXRX today. I know I'm going to be watching still these genomics, and I'm watching them for developing on weekly patterns, right?
I don't see Steph there, so it might not be any crazy. She's going to be the one that's always gives us the most insane ones. I'm
Yeah.
interested here in Netflix.
There
Just
is
taking a
one
look
that
at.
was up crazy. This BNBX, Applied DNA Sciences. This was up to 850, has come down already to 5, but could make another lift there.
I'm watching
BNBX.
here.
Interesting
Let's
one.
do an open.
Boom. We're open, guys. Have some fun.
Yeah, so I'm actually watching. So here is no, I want to copy paste. There we go. So here on Netflix, I'm actually watching the little algo that we're building. Do a 2-minute chart. Right.
Nice.
So here is the pre-market low. Right. So it's already done that where it's undercut the pre-market low here on Netflix. And now I'm just looking to see, are we going to get a reversal higher from there? So if we end up getting that kind of undercut and rally, and the trigger for that is now going to be a 2-minute candle close back above VWAP. And that might be my idea. But bleeding here a little bit off the bat there on the SPY. So we got to keep an eye there. Just a little bit of a initial flush, a little bit of a initial push
There's
down.
that
First
BNBX.
trade.
Nice mover.
First trade the bot just put in is a short in Beyond Meat. That's why I said
Uh-oh.
Um,
I
so,
don't
but
know.
it's 100. It's what 200 shares, right? So it's $1,200 worth of Beyond Meat. So it needs
Yep.
to it needs to
RXRX getting a
double
nice
from
little lift
here
here,
to.
guys. Trying to go ahead and get some on the pullback here. Like that first opening drive there on RXRX. Gonna take like 100 shares here. Still need a little bit of pullback, just a small pullback.
So yeah, still watching Netflix here, but yeah, short a little bit of the Beyond Meat. Again, the idea behind this one is just a simple mean reversion setup, right? Nothing fancy, nothing crazy here. If you look at the daily chart, obviously a crazy day yesterday, and now it's just gapping up today, so it's just taking a potential little bit of a reversal on that. But just
Looking
remind
for
everyone that all of these trades are super small.
looking for a pullback here on RXRX. It's one of my top plays to watch for today. We'll see what happens. I am seeing a bounce in those mineral plays that you just might have forgotten about or doing the dumpsters. They are bouncing right out the gates, and that can happen when you get really hard down action. You get these quick bounces, kind of they call them dead cat bounces, right?
Mhm.
So just be careful with that, right? It could be a dead cat bounce, could not. I mean, I know I'm staying a little bit away from the minerals for just a little while, right? I will take like a break sometimes because the action has gone too volatile, right? So here's a little dip here for RXRX. Don't mind it. Just looking for some buyers to step back up there. There's 618s. I'm going to take a little bit here, willing to take a little bit more towards about like 610. And then we'll see if we can hold 6 right out the gates here today. So
Beyond Meat's working a little bit. Again, it's a very small position, but it's paying out, and that's it so far. It's been
Yeah, Michael, I was laughing at myself because yesterday I like kind of psyched myself. I was listening to a bunch of O'Neill conversations, like old books and stuff, like
mm-hmm,
podcasting, like on YouTube where it has like quotes and stuff. And I just listened to like a 30-minute podcast about sizing, and it was just him like 90 different ways about telling you how if you're too big, you're just gonna blow out. Like,
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So like I'm here trying to like remember, Mitch, remember the sizing. My back of my
Yeah.
brain's like sizing.
Again, it's everything. I actually did a challenge once on my channel. I'll see if I can find the video where I just took a random trading strategy. Like, I just had a commenter say, "Do this," and I was able to. I think it was like 5 or 6% in a single month. From it's like a moving average crossover. It's the most basic thing in the world.
Hmm.
But the idea was I was able to test a bunch of variants of it and see. Right, this is one of those things where it's the you can do pretty much anything if you manage risk correctly, right? If
Oh
you can
yeah.
do almost, you could coin flip, you could do a lot of different things.
So I'm in RX guys. I'll be expecting this to now get that nice little bounce at 610 here. I'll show you guys the setup here. So I'm in this, guys. So looking for this now to get that nice bounce, right? That's why I'm watching for the 610 area to be that rebuying area where it can come back through 630. Let's see if that can happen here. So in my eyes, should not break six at all.
The Beyond Meat is now halted to the short side.
Ooh, did you stay
Oh,
short?
yeah. And
Oh,
Netflix. So Netflix triggered there off our little no, not
there
yet.
you
Sorry.
go.
Didn't yet. Got to. Oh yes, it did. There it goes. Candle is closed.
Nice.
So long a little Netflix, short that Beyond Me again. 200 shares. So I'm up
I love it.
$100.
I love it.
I'll
Oh,
trade
but
it.
it's woke, bro. But it's woke.
Yeah, this was it was funny. You couldn't help but be if you were on Twitter last night just to
Uh,
see, and it just reminded me so much of um the the craziness when it came to
yeah.
GameStop and AMC, and like it very quickly got a very huge cult following. So at
Yeah.
that point, it's probably
Hmm.
an issue.
I don't think I've traded this silver stock. SVM. I don't think I've traded that before. Seeing silver up today, gold right back up today a little bit. So energy, basic materials, and real estate leading the action out the gates here. Healthcare strong too. So I'll be watching some healthcare. I see medical device names doing well there. So keeping an eye on that. Might have my first haircut there if it gets if RXRX cuts six here. But I know I'll be out if it cuts six. That's $19, very minimal loss. Starting to get some volume though coming in there. 20,000 shares at 604. Let's see if we can get right back up to 610. Remember, haircuts. Taking those paper cuts, waiting for the trend to play in your favor. That's the way we play things. And when you have the size that you should have, guess what, guys? At least I feel you don't need to stop.
So yeah, so Netflix just chopped around here. Beyond Meat is closed. So yeah, if we look, so again, this is the setup. I've hidden some of the lines on it, but the idea is an undercut of VWAP and then a break back through. Um, the stop at the low of the day. Profit targets are one of those things where it's that's going to be the discretionary part of it for now until I
Mhm.
kind of hammer out something. But this is something that if we see these things work, could be systematized like today, right? It's the the plumbing is already already done. It's already sorted. So yeah, watching this one just to see. The idea behind these, I think, is they should start to pay pretty quickly. Like I don't want to hold this for a half hour and have nothing happen. So I'm going to put a shot clock on these as well, where uh, what we're looking for is we're looking for just a quick flush of pre-market lows and that them using that to start buying it up. And it's the thing we've been talking about and we see all the time, just trying to systematize what's a very discretionary setup is that you have these two bottoming tails on the 2 minute chart where we dip under this kind of 1000 1040 and they just get bought up each time. So I want a quick retake of VWAP and then a push through, and then if not, it's probably time to move on.
Clearly see a big positioner here, guys. I keep seeing 20,000, 30,000, 17,000 share order, 599, 6. He's close to 6. He's trying to get as close to 6 as possible with big sizing here on RXRX. So trying to hold to like a couple more pennies here. I already set the stop there. Now I set the stop on protection 1 penny below it. If it cuts me, it cuts me. If it gets back above 6, I'm set. And that's the first trade. First trade is set, in this case, the risk now. And now it needs to start working back through 620s for me to add in RXRX. But looking around out there, guys, trying to find what's on my list that's standing out to me. Grail, of course, taking lead right back up. Takes a 1 day down, and it's right back off the 9 EMA. That's taking a nice little lead to the upside.
So the
Looking around.
spy funny. I just saw the green arrow here because it's
There it
doing the
is.
same thing. So opening candle here was a flush on the SPY right to
Mhm.
pre-market lows. Remember, I have this purple area shaded because this was all the support
Love
back
it.
here. So it fades that, and then we just rip right back up through. So a lot of just showing that yes, this is, um, the market's doing a lot of this. And again, I think this chop continues until this zone gets cleared decisively, not just poke our head through, but a couple candle closes through or on some sort of really heavy volume. Uh, and again, it could be for a while that we're in this range. And I, for one, I'm okay with it. You just have to adapt and say this is the market you're in. So if you see profits, gonna take them, and just know that buying dips and selling rips is probably the thing. If we get through that zone and we start ripping higher, then that's gonna be the time I'm gonna kind of put my foot on the gas. I think a little bit, but
This accumulator is definitely accumulating this, and this is what you do sometimes with the, like right now I have like what's that feeler position, right? I'm essentially feeling out the buying power, feeling out where the buying really is coming in, and you can clearly see there's some bigger traders trying to get this near the 6.
Beyond Meat just bouncing a little bit there. So it unhalted and then started to rally up. I think it might be halted again. So this is
Yeah,
why, again,
there you go.
small positions is the
Out.
move for sure.
Out there for the time being in RXRX doesn't mean that I can't get back in, but I'm going to give it the chance for the buyers to step back up and for big buying to come in at 610. So I'd rather take a $25 haircut than take the 50 if it washes here. Then when it comes back, I can just put the risk back on and look to size up when it works.
Yeah, that would be the biggest tip I'd give to most traders is, and we talked about this a lot with Michael Katz when we were down in Florida, where the he talks about that. That's what he does for his trading too. Is you take maybe a third or a quarter of what your initial risk. If you want to risk $100 on the trade, you set your initial risk at $25, and then if it starts to work for you, then you start to size in. And if not, you just kind of let it go, and then you're taking kind of 1/4 of what it is that you expected
Mhm.
for risk. So another trade entered here by the bot is a short on RANI. This was one that's been one of these high flyers.
Yeah.
And the idea is just this is a big candle yesterday and a big move up here again today. So took a little short on that at just exactly right here. So 365. If you look at the intraday chart, that's pre-market highs, which if it's going to come all the way back up to pre-market highs, I would bet it's probably going to go through that a little bit. But and the idea is I'm going to take 5 to 10 trades a day, sometimes more, and all of them are very, very small. And you're just hoping that net, um, net, that everything is just kind of even, right? So that's why a lot of people say, "Oh, you're just so calm, even when you're losing money." It's like, well, because I don't care about it's I don't look at really even each individual trade. I'm looking at the net P&L across the basket of trades, and the hope is just on net, on mass, uh, they're hopefully positive by the end of the day, and obviously won't be every day, but hopefully positive by the end of the week or the month. And then again, trading so small that none of these matter. Oh, we have a friend.
Looking around.
Oh,
Oh.
we got a bud.
Oh. Well, if it isn't good old Oscar himself.
Oh yeah, you better have brought my money. Cut in here. Where's my money?
What's going on, Steve? Oh, I don't
Muted.
think I got you. I don't think I got you, my friend.
You're hard muted. I think on your mic, maybe.
That's an Oscar mute right there.
Oh yeah, no, he's just mouthing off to us in secret and private.
Let me see. Can I fix him? Can I fix him?
Let's try that. How about that?
Oh, your mic broke
Hey.
as soon as I asked for my money back, huh?
What a coincidence, right? I mean, I don't know. My phone's not working either. How you doing, guys?
What's going on, Steve? It's good to see you, my friend.
Hanging out, looking
We
at
were
Oscar.
joking.
It's
I was
coming
gonna say
back.
we were joking yesterday because my bot took a long here on Oscar, and I was like, "Oh, this thing again." It's
Oh,
just a day
brother.
trade, but
You'll
oh,
learn.
this thing
I
again.
mentioned that his bot might be turning super intelligence and just start learning his conversation.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know how
this
super
thing
intelligent
again.
it is if it's long Oscar.
Uh,
It was a good day trade, but it looks like it's
well,
just looking at it now. Looks like it's
the
probably going
first
to give it all the way
supercomputers.
back.
Let's be real; they're not
Let's
going to
be
be the
real, guys.
smartest.
Come on.
Did you guys see? There's like this doc. I got to do a little bit more research, but looks like all like the major AI engineers and bright minds are putting out on alert. Stop the supercomputer. Stop the supercomputer talk. Right.
Oh, good.
Like,
Well,
so I like that. I like that. They're trying to at least tame down AI a little bit because AI is AI, but they're not just like, having the mind of their own just yet, guys. We're almost there, but we're not there yet.
Well, yeah, it's AI versus AGI, right? And
Yeah.
artificial general intelligence, and they're
Yeah,
saying
that's
they're saying we're probably still longer from that than we initially thought, is like an
yeah.
actual human brain replacement, which I'm as a human, I'm all for.
yeah. All right,
Beyond
guys.
Meat open again.
I'm looking to take
Boy.
one more shot here. RX. I'm going to take it at 6 here, but I'm going to risk what? Below the low, right? So at this point, I'll take a starter here at 6, looking for this to recover, but
Yeah.
risking towards 588. So another $12 risk. I'll take it. Let's go.
Pop your charts up there too, Steve, and we can take a look at this.
Yeah.
See what
Give me
you're.
one sec. Sorry, managing a few positions. Gotta
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no
get an
worries.
alert pop.
take care of those. Overall market, I'm only seeing 2 areas in green from the open. Just to put on concerned out there as the SPY trickles down to the support again.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm watching one of these things where, right, so we bounce up, we hit those low, we bounce up, and then we kind of roll over again. It's all this range bound, obnoxious, sideways behavior, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just know that you're in a range. Just don't go crazy until the range is broken.
That's
Take
it.
profits. Like what I should have done is before that first halt on Beyond Meat, I should have just punched out of at least a chunk of the position. I should take my own advice and just say, hey, we're range bound. So if you're making money, good for you. Netflix, little pop there, nice look. So long that.
Hey,
That one's
same thing
cool.
happened to me yesterday, right? I was in that camp too. Where it just looks so good, you end up staying in it, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh no, I should just taken the cash, man."
Yeah, that's a wild setup right there. I'm just catching my bearings, checking out this Beyond chart. What in the world?
You didn't see it,
Oh
man?
yeah,
Come
I
on,
didn't. I
man.
took a nap yesterday, dude. It was a long
the
day.
Ah,
new
good
memer.
nap.
So my bot's shorted here. It's a new meme stock.
It's
Oh,
like I
good.
put
Once they connect to
I put
DME.
out the playbook. I put fake meat, real momentum.
Ain't that the truth?
I don't know if these, because so
Real momentum,
the way
baby.
markets work is people learn, right? So imagine if you were part of the GME saga or the AMC and
Mhm.
you're still holding that thing and you've lost like most of your money.
Hold on, man.
The if you're getting into Beyond Meat again, the hope is that you're smart, and when you made 600% in 3 days, you're at least ringing the register on some of that. You're not just coming back and doing the same dumb thing again where you're holding it
Hodl,
forever.
hodl,
I,
baby.
I just wonder if that's going to shrink this overall, this kind of meme stock thing where people have gotten smart and said, okay, you just don't
Yeah.
want to be the last guy holding this thing. So maybe
Mm.
the volatility of even meme stocks, right? People take profits faster or something. Because yeah, big spike in the pre-market. Again, the bot shorted it pretty much right off the open. So it's like flat. Yeah, flat on the position.
Ooh,
And
and those dead cat bounces in all the quantum names, man. I kind of warned that they started green right at the top, and then they're just like, pow.
Wow, look at that. So much
They started
volatility.
green, but like that's why you got to be careful with those dead cat bounces now.
Mhm.
Um, you can't.
Another component here today is we have expiration, and I feel like everybody's very
Oh,
complacent into it. Maybe that's just
yeah.
me.
No, you're not wrong. And I mean, a lot of people may be hoping and praying that those options are coming back. And
Hmm.
the spy is just to say the spy is actually up 0% right now. We are officially completely unchanged. So
Let's go.
Max Payne theory would say if there is a big VIX expiration, let's screw the most amount of people by having the market do nothing so that everyone loses the most amount of money. The
yep,
premium sellers win again.
yep. One that's actually holding well. I talked about a potential run to 525 was Microsoft. We got to run out the gates there from to 523.50s. So stay with the strength, right? I'm going to go looking to try to trade Microsoft. I just want a little pullback towards 521 here, and I wouldn't mind taking a shot. Microsoft looks interesting.
My Netflix selling, my Ranny, whatever this Ranny is break even, and Beyond Meat is up just a little bit, but all right, mostly break even. That's it. So another slow day. A lot of my systems heavily use ATR. So what happens is on huge ATR spikes, like we saw last Friday, my systems just naturally trade less after giant moves like that because that skews just all of the ATR kind of math going forward until that gets worked out of the system. So this week has been a really slow one for me.
I'm keeping an eye on SoFi here. I really like the look of that daily chart. That one's looking pretty to me.
It ain't gonna stop. You know how I feel about it, Steve.
Yeah, yeah. You think it's a moonshot?
I
I'm kind
mean,
of
I
with
called it the next
you.
Palantir
Mm-hmm.
at
I think you're dead
16.
on. I think you're dead
So
on. Oh, at
I
16.
at 16.
Okay,
16, Steve.
I'll give you your props, Mitch, because I also called it along at 16, but I didn't even
That was
buy
a
it. So
spot. That was a spot. No, don't worry. You know how it is, Steve. We you
mm,
know
it
we.
was.
I just look at my friend's account because he has it at 16 because he listened to me.
It's a community thing, right? I'm sure they'll share the gains.
Yeah,
Uh,
just At least
It-
at least give you a good hug.
I'll take it. It was one of those like the accumulation upwards. They always throw me, but it's a sign of such intense strength.
Yeah,
But
man.
I was like, oh, it's bear flagging or something. I don't know. I didn't even
And it
believe
was also like they got all the benefits. Like they have
it.
like crypto, they have blockchain, they have the loan repayment, the shift of loans that happened because of Trump and like pulling away federal funding, and now you got to go private funding, right? All those types of tailwinds. Then interest rates getting cut, which does what? Helps them with their loans, right? Because if interest rates go lower, they can kind of hit the gas pedal on more loans and more loans. So I think this is just the beginning of that SoFi run. Um, you just got to keep watch on like 50, I think 50 EMAs for dips to there. Because a lot of times you're going to get a short term moving average on SoFi to give up. It's
Mm,
that medium term that holds really well. So
right.
that's what I'm trying to use for entries on SoFi.
Mhm.
Get back to 50s. Even if you just wanted to use an SMA, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too far off of it. But recently we had one on October 3rd where it literally just tapped it 24.85. The low was 24.84, and
Damn. Yeah.
literally to the key tapped it. You know what I
Precision.
mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times what happens is those short-term moving average traders, they cut on the 9 or the 10 or maybe it's the 12, and then they're holding towards like the 20, and the 20 gets cut also. So that's why I like the 50. And then that 50 can keep you in on a long-term position. On
Yeah.
like once you're already up big, I like the 50 as that key spot to tell you run or stay in.
Yeah.
So
No, I like that.
Microsoft looking good here, guys. I like this play. I'm trying to find a way to play it, right? It's just in the middle of the range. I hate buying stocks in the middle of the range. Kind
Mm.
of have to have some type of pullback, or I'll wait for the breakout and then kind of maybe scalp it. But Microsoft looking good today, guys. I think that's what could maybe lift us back, but SPY's still playing games here.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
swept pre-market liquidity, or at least the
Mm-hmm.
opening pre-market level there. Could
Yeah.
not make the overnight high. So I'm keeping an eye here. I'm not really sure. With expiration, it makes me feel like it's not a terrible time to look for a hedge if we lose
Oil hot
something.
today. That's going to be an interesting play. XOM right
Yeah,
back above
some
VWAP.
Yeah.
strategic reserve chatter. I think
Yeah,
they're gonna.
See, that makes it
India
good,
stopped
though.
buying Russia gas. That's the other news headline out there. So India not buying as much Russian gas, being pressured by Trump to try to stop the Ukraine war. Right, that's the whole idea. Trump wants his Nobel Peace Prize. We won't get into that conversation, but he wants it, and he wants it bad to the point where he's trying to cut off areas around Russia now to be like, well, I have you in a stranglehold, Putin. Rather you know it or not, I got you in a stranglehold. So, and Putin's his friend, but one of the things he loves to do is one up Putin, right? Because he's viewed as like such a bad, that he's like, well, if I can be better than Putin, people will view me as an even badder.
Really quick, Peloton. Peloton is looking very
Peloton.
strong here. And there was some flow yesterday.
Wow, that is not words I have heard
Oh,
in
hold on. That's
Yeah, the
actually
brand
five
pretty
new
years.
smart.
service here.
That's actually pretty smart to look for short squeezes, right? So this would be an area that I actually don't mind kind of trading here. This actually looks nice setup
Yeah,
right here, right now. Doesn't
right
look
here, right
bad.
now. Wow, that chart. Holy moly.
Don't look
Yeah,
don't look left
20%
sometimes.
short foot.
Yeah,
Don't
Yeah.
look left sometimes on day trades.
I don't want to see it.
Well, and this was geez, yeah. At some point, I think this was worth more than like Exxon Mobil. This like spike when I've had strapped to it was just hilarious. That was pandemic times where nothing made any sense.
There's some
And
flow going
this
in there.
this is the time where value investors start to get kind of
I like
interested
it.
in this
I'll
thing.
take a shot.
They
I'll
say
take a shot.
200 was stupid, but maybe $5 is a fair value, and you start to get these kind of low bases that are happening, a little kind of cup and handle action. I see your Oscar is on. It's just tanking.
Oh, it's hanging
Still,
out. It's coming back into the bear pivot. As long as it holds here, I think it's okay.
well, because it's funny. I'm looking at this because I think it's on the list again to
Mm.
trade if it gets
Mm.
back to this
Yeah,
area as well. So
I'm waiting for my calls to fill here at 250 ish. We'll
I'm
you
gonna
gonna
see.
do
hold real
that into
tight.
earnings? Don't they have other?
Yeah, I am. I'm feeling spicy.
Ooh,
Oscar,
ooh.
I'm such an Oscar bull. I was talking
Got
about
a It's got the
what's up?
cult following. I don't understand why a
It's
healthcare
it's
company gets
like
a cult following, but
I don't know why. I just think like Sesame Street or
Mm.
something like.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
funny. I
did
was
that tweet. I did that tweet where I just tweeted. I put Oscar the Grouch on when it was down like 5 days in a row here or
I
something.
could
Yeah,
see him just popping
it's
up in my head, bro. Like that's how bad these these Sesame Street
well, when
get in
you
your
got
head,
kids,
funny.
they're in you.
All right, so we've got the Oscar the Grouch. I was talking about it, and my friend was convinced that I was long Oscar Mayer hot dogs.
Oscar Mayer Wiener.
I just kind of rolled with it. Yeah, Wiener Gang, let's go.
Let's go, Wiener
Memes
Gang,
are great.
baby. Hey, I
Uh,
took your Peloton. It's getting the flow there, man. I had to grab it. The setup was just too
Ooh,
beautiful for me to avoid.
I like it.
And you know how I am. Sometimes I tell myself if I see a setup and it's just beautiful, stop thinking. What are you thinking about,
Mhm,
bro? Like
mhm.
your eyes tell you at this point in the day, like, how much trading I've done. I usually see it like that. And then I just don't need at that moment, stop thinking. Just think about what the risk and return is, but stop thinking so much about is the setup pretty because
Right.
your eyes should immediately tell you it's pretty.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I
Look at that
bought there
speed.
and look at the flow coming in there. A lot of volume, 2,000 share buys. I only got 200 shares. Not like I went crazy, but I got there in there at 791. We're at 797, about to break 8. So
Let's
let's go.
go, baby. That's a nice one. Um, yeah, I am. I'm watching Oscar here. Tagged my bull pivot and found some buyers. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that level there, the 2067, 2075 ish.
I
And
don't think
RX
it's
still building up too. I like that
Mm.
name for long term.
Yeah.
So Steve, so that you know at least what I'm looking at. I always like to, if I mention SoFi and want to pat my back, why not get you the next one, right? Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking for genomics to really
Yes.
start playing in, Steve. So I don't
Mhm.
know if you're watching for that,
Yes,
but
sir.
I'm looking for it, and I think that's the next step if we're really going to keep this AI like crazy boom around out there.
Mm.
We got to look to see genomics really take off.
I think you're so dead on, dude. These are exactly what I'm looking at. I missed Beam, even though I loved it, but their sister stock, PRME, that
Mhm.
one's looking good to me.
RX about to break 6. Let's see if it gets here and starts getting
Oh
some
yeah.
gas pedals. So I
Let's see what you're
really
seeing
like
on that.
this.
Ooh.
Which one was that one?
This PRME. So this is genomics as well. Is
Hmm.
that
It's mhm.
look at that? That is if you
Prime
look up
medicine.
bull flag in the right,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
should be published in a book.
Ooh.
And it's at the bottom, which is always nicer than when you find the perfect setup at the top. You have to play a breakout trade.
So what I'd
Yeah,
like from
well this
this one is the weekly. But
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
show us that daily. That's beautiful. I like that
that's
weekly.
just that's as
Yeah.
as textbook of a bull flag as you could if someone's out there trying to study chart patterns, right? That's
Hmm.
as right, huge push up and it's got the double. Right? There's a lot
Mhm.
of you want the double off the lows. And then the only thing that would make this one better, I'm very interested. Let's see if there's a short float.
A few more things to put on your radar. I believe it's tagging the 20-day moving average, catching nicely, and it is oh shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. But there's another reason why it's nice.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll come to me in a sec.
22% short. And it looks like there's probably
Ooh.
a corporate action or something that happened here, but they've been shorting the whole way up since it's doubled. Like if you look at, just take this part of the chart out, right? So as it's been moving higher, they've been shorting more, which is generally not what you want to do. So that means if this resolves higher, so I like this one. I'm gonna put just an alert there.
Nice.
I think it's
What I was
over.
going to say is it's a high and tight flag technically too, which is over I believe over a 60% move up in 3 to 4 weeks, and then 3 to 5 weeks of consolidation within 25% of that at least 60% move. So not too bad.
Hmm.
Q's looking sketchy. Look for a short.
Yeah, overall market just kind of hanging in there. It's really not falling, and that's the key, though. Is that
Boring.
like
Wake
let's
up.
say like I don't think these VIX contracts are getting bought up here. They look pretty for it to buy, but it's just no gas pedal on the downside, man. It's just straight stair step on the downside.
Mhm.
Elevator is still playing to the upside. So in my eyes,
Well,
until I see
like,
that change,
could be Tesla earnings, right? You said they were tonight,
Oh,
so it could just
yeah,
be let's
tonight.
pause and wait because that's like the first. Netflix doesn't count. Who cares about Netflix? So like Tesla's the first big, real company, like
Yep.
tech company that's
Mag
reporting.
7.
Yeah, like Netflix,
wait.
you know.
We don't care about Netflix, but we care about Tesla.
Oh,
What's
for
Well,
100% because it's woke, bro. Come
because
on.
it's woke? That's our
well,
barometer here. Okay.
you just go or
All right.
just market cap. What's Netflix market cap? Yeah, it's
That's
only
how it is
400
right now,
billion.
man.
It's only 400 billion. Who even cares? What's the
Yeah, that's
point?
nothing
Who
at
even cares,
1.4
man?
trillion. So yeah, it's one third the size of a Tesla. And I think
I
Tesla's
actually
just a
didn't
better
realize.
barometer for the whole AI, robotics, future tech, crazy bullshit kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
good proxy
So,
for that. What I'm a little
which by the
embarrassed. I
way,
didn't even check
I'll
the
say-
mark. I for some reason I thought Netflix's market cap was much bigger. Huh? It's that
no,
$1,000
but
stock.
well, and
It's the
I had a
price.
great
Yeah.
trade in Netflix for the I
It's
haven't
the
done
price.
anything since.
Hmm.
But yeah, during this time, during the April, like the tariff tantrum, my systems just bought this because it
Ooh,
was the most obvious relative strength. You could see everything was tanking and this was moving higher because they're like, you can't tariff this.
yeah,
And then ever
terrible.
since then, just
Exactly. Hmm.
absolutely nothing. Just a, you know, a boring, boring kind of name.
Yeah, it's boring, but it's that tech boring. It still can juice when it's ready to go.
Yep.
Well, and I'm looking at this now saying, okay, this is a nice base. Kind of wake me up when we're back, in the 125 area. If we
Yeah.
can get back through that, then okay, well now it's on again. Tax stock mode beyond again, it's still short. So
Mm.
it is surprisingly unvolatile for a shitty near bankrupt company that's up 600% in 3 days.
Let's just hang it
Uh,
out. But isn't that bullish though? It's kind of consolidating volatility after a huge move. I don't know, or just for me.
Maybe I just look at it and say it hasn't even tried to get back to kind of this high,
Mm.
pre-market high, and hasn't even got really at $8. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't have shorted it, but it's not up to me. It's
Yeah.
up to the robot brain.
And that's why we're long Tesla, because robots will rule us all one day.
That's
Oh yeah.
it.
Well, they already do.
Oh,
See how it
Peloton.
goes.
Dang, look at those
That's it.
sellers at 8. Guess it wasn't ready.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't too bad there. They're just trying to reload it here.
Yeah.
They're just trying to reload. When you look at the amount of size that went in there, there's no way that all these 2,000, 4,000 share orders were there just to sell for the the 9 cents.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like no one's making money on that. So the traders they're stuck like I am right now, watching
Mhm.
watching the flow, seeing if there's anyone willing to step back up so this could get back above 790s, right?
Yeah.
Um, right now I'm doing the same, right? And if I get cut here, it's still in haircut range, and that's what you want to do. But if you go too big too quickly, like I talked about, and how I just drilled my brain yesterday with this YouTube, I should get that link. It was like 30 minutes on O'Neill just telling you about how. But if you do this with too much size, you blow out this side, and if you do this with too much size, it's because of this. And
There's Yes, of ruin.
so, and it's just lessons to learn, right? Like, even the best trades, sometimes you just ruin it because you just get too big,
Oops.
too fast. It's not
Yeah.
because
Oh,
you didn't have the good eyes.
that is my MO.
Yeah.
Right. If I could go back all the times that I got um and get my money back for all the times I was just size too big,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. Right?
Yeah.
Which
You're an
sounds
island.
weird where if I took all of the trades in my life half
Mhm.
the size, I would have made way more money. But I
Mm,
always encourage people to take a look at, just talking about position sizing. You can just Google this, right? It's a risk of ruin calculator.
mhm.
Um, it's easier to see. And you just go in, you type certain things. So let's say you have I don't know, 55% win rate, and your average win, average loss,
Dark pool.
risk per trade, loss level, number of trades, and you click it, it will do let's say you make, I don't know, 150 when you're right, you lose 100 when you're wrong, and that's what, 1%, and I don't know, 10%, and it will number of trades, I don't know, 1,000, and it will calculate what your risk of blowing up your account is. So the risk of ruin with this particular setup, where you're right 55% of the time, you make 1,000, you lose 100, that type of thing. It will give you what the probability of you blowing up your account is. And it's just a good to spend an evening with a
Yeah.
couple beers and just going through this and seeing, because a lot of people, uh, if you take the risk per trade and you up it to like 5%, your risk ruin, basically you have a 40% chance of blowing up your account. So it's half and half.
That's it,
Um,
man.
so right, just play with these numbers and just kind of see with is what you're doing guaranteed to blow up, and
Out there on
the
that
amount of
Peloton.
people who don't do that is wild.
Yeah.
Took a little haircut there on that Peloton, down
Or the supply.
30 on that, 29. Yeah, after the leak, 29.
Tough one.
No, it's
This
fine.
is
This is the game, right? If it's going to short squeeze, it's going to squeeze, right? So it doesn't matter, right? Wasn't looking for 8, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
If it
totally.
was going to go, it was going to do a Beyond Meat move and then just start to just drive, right? And so,
Yeah.
but Beyond Meat itself looks good on that 6 recovery now that you've had a couple of undercuts of 6. So this actually looks like it's holding really well now. But I mean, that's up to you if you want to go for Beyond Meat, right?
I don't go for nothing. I go for whatever the bot tells me to go for. But the SPY is rolling over here. It
Yeah.
looks like, I don't want to call it too fast because we've literally done nothing
Yeah, it's just nothing, man.
the entire morning.
I
But
would even.
looks like we could be bleeding just a bit here.
It's just it's still stuck in the range, man. The hourly. That's why I'm trying to just stay on the hourlies right now. I'm like
Mhm.
specifically like even moving back and back, further and further. Stop looking even at the 15. Look to the 30,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to keep you safe here. You're going to see the range on the 30, and we just need to break this range. So that's what I'm trying to tell myself, and trying to hang in there with certain stocks, right?
Just absolute chop fest.
Yeah. And this is when you hope that you use small size and take those cuts.
Yeah.
If you go too big on a day like today, or you take a big cut today, and then you try to take that size again because you're trying to get it back, real quick, just say goodbye to your account.
Yeah. That's how they
Just
go.
start waving, man. Start waving, because that's how you ruin it. And like for me, that I'm like so close to like another funded account, right? Well, just don't push the gas pedal if the gas pedal's not there to be pushed. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that, man. I've been waiting to see momentum, but if I don't see the momentum, it just tells me today's not the day. Wait
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
That's right. Beyond Meat now shorted to the upside, or halted to the upside. So we'll see there.
You see,
Again,
I
we're
had that Beyond
still
Me concern there. That 6, look how
still
quickly it played in. I just said that 6 is recovering. It looks like it's holding 6, and boom, gives you that nice 30-cent candle there.
yeah. So between this short and the R and I long, or short, both of them both flat. That's the beauty of, we were talking about position sizing a lot. That's the beauty of volatility sizing, right? Is that obviously the Beyond Meat trade is microscopic, and this one, even though it's wild, each day the ATR is just on a percentage basis way smaller. So there's this one, it took slightly bigger. So even though I'm only up a little bit on this one and down on a percentage basis way more on Beyond Meat, the net of the two is flat, right? So Yeah, I'm down like 15% on Beyond Meat, but it's why volatility size triggers me when traders like, oh, well, I trade 100 shares at a time or I trade 1,000 shares at a time. I was like, well, that's dumb because different stocks are going to have different movements and different volatility. So your sizing should be different on every single security.
Yeah,
Shouldn't matter, right?
absolutely. Yeah, we should be
Like
doing this as mathematically as possible, right? Anything
yeah,
that can potentially get in the way of that needs to be addressed, probably.
And I wouldn't put Peloton off the radar. I would just keep it in the back of your mind. Look how it's coming right back, right? So
And lots of weakness. I'm getting stopped out of stuff. Some swings.
you see Peloton's already coming back, right? So like
well,
things
man,
like
here's
that,
another good example. The bot just took whatever TLN is to the long side. And right, obviously,
Oh, that's a
because
good
this
company.
one, even though it's a more expensive company, it's trading this bigger on a share size basis than Beyond Meat because it's right. The volatility is lower on this one, just on a percentage basis, right? This moved 6% yesterday, where Beyond Meat moved like 106% yesterday. So, right,
Peloton back almost to 8.
What a whipsaw there.
Yeah, it's just a whipsaw cutout, man. That's all it is. So you have to be willing to do what?
Wow.
Get back in if you want to play the game.
Yeah, that's mean.
ooh, yeah. Is the spy doing that too?
No,
No.
not really. Looking not great. Not great.
Strong
Short
candle
is
here,
my only thing
Peloton.
that's working today. I'm wondering if bull is almost a buy. I'm stuck because I followed
Bull?
flow a day early, 2 days early. That's what I'm watching.
Weeble? Is that what
Yeah,
you
we
meant?
will.
Yeah. Just doesn't seem like it's holding, man. That thing might go to single digits.
Don't say that. It might.
Dude, it's just the chart doesn't look pretty, man.
It's trickling. If it doesn't hold here, it's pretty in trouble, I'd say.
Yeah. I like that Peloton though. Rebuy right there at 794. So I'm gonna take a shot here. There's somebody stepped up there. You could see it. Like just they pulled back. They see the easy pullback. And now they're looking for the breakout above 8. Let's see if we can get it.
Let's see what we got. Could be a higher low on Qs. That's always a possibility.
I got a little bit more gas in the tank, guys. I'm gonna put about $100 as long as we can stay underneath that $100. We can still have some fun.
Ooh, that's a little dip and rip there, candle on the spy.
Let's go. Let's get some rips.
So we are in a lower high, lower low, or higher low, sorry, situation here so far.
Yeah, I really like that.
Well, I guess it did make a higher high than the pre-market swing, but it couldn't bust that one from a few hours before open. Watching QQQ at 610. That's been a pivot. It's been pretty actionable the past couple days.
Yeah, let's see if that Beyond Meat can really get Peloton going here now. Now that Beyond Meat's back into the green, right? And it's, does it open? Yeah, I think it is open. Yeah, it's 652. So it's not halted. Oh, it just unhalted. There you go. Just opened up right now.
Just
Literally, just unhalted.
Probably just in
that I
time to rehalt.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There it is. There's a nice little push up, and I'm watching the flow also, and I'm looking for flow to kind of show up with it. Like, so when I see Beyond Me hit the top, I want to see also Peloton start hitting the top. Like, kind of an algos, we're looking at both of them and trying to buy it up here. So let's see if Beyond Me can get through 7 here, which is 680s and then 70s. Let's see if we get that, and then we get a lift off above 8 on Peloton. Like in the 30-minute chart on Peloton too. So I'm just going to stick to that.
Yeah, I've been using a lot of 30s lately, actually. It's really nice.
30s,
just like
bro.
that in between, like, because the hourly used to be my bigger time frame. And I've been finding the half an hour for day trading. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm trying more and more, right? Like my bread and butter is swing, and I'm gonna keep trying to do like kind of day trades that are essentially off of swing trades, right?
Yeah. No, those are so nice when you take a scalp. It works. You can free roll apart, just let it cook. Those are
Yeah.
my favorite setups for sure.
Yeah. Looking for Peloton to clear back through 8. Let's see if we can get that. You see Beyond Me kind of chopping around right now. Let's see if it takes that 680s that we talked about and it really wants to go to 7. You saw a couple of chops underneath the 650s and immediately rebuying coming in on that 650.
It's strong on cues.
Strong on cues. That's good.
Strong on
Good to
cues.
hear. Finally getting some cues action. And you know what I say about that? Microsoft, Softy, look at her go. Almost 525. This is the problem that I have with Microsoft. It's hard for me to come in here with the size and get it right. But you could see Microsoft really strong today. I could see it in the pre-market. And it's one of the best looking big boys right now, as it's almost a 525. I talked about that early on today. Could we get to 525? We're almost there. So.
Cues still having a little trouble at their moving averages. Oh yeah, Michael, you
They
got
just
right there.
hit VWAP and then struggling just a bit. We now have Walter Bloomberg tweeting about Beyond Meat, which is just hilarious.
Goodness gracious.
So it's hit the mainstream.
It's hit the mainstream, guys. It's hit the mainstream. Here's Peloton above 8 here. Now it's the question, do I step up? This is the spot. And there's the flow. Look at the flow. So I'm stepping up. I see the flow. Let's go. With the flow, I go. Let's get it. Let's see if Peloton can really run here. Now I want to see what? Did Beyond Meat get to that 7th spot? Exactly got to that 7th spot. So now I want to see that break 7 and then this continue to run with the momentum.
Oh yeah, and it's by far the top trending thing on the stock twits. Just trying to see if there's anything else really. I think like I don't see anything other than some quantum names selling down. So I think like the entire degen community is focused on Beyond Meat right now.
It's pretty crazy.
Which I don't think is either bullish or bearish. I think it's likely probably neutral, right? It's probably time to chop everyone up.
Well, Michael, what do you think about the dash to trash? Is that a little worrying?
Go Peloton.
Define trash.
Get on that bike, baby.
Bankrupt, there should be bankrupt zombie companies or close.
I don't know if that, like, if you look at where GameStop happened during the overall cycle in 2021, it was still early.
Yeah.
I don't know if the market, and I've heard a lot of smart people say this, if the market is large enough now that there'll never be such a thing as like huge giant crashes, like broad, like market wide anymore, or whether everything's just going to be so localized. Like, I was saying before, and I think I triggered some people where every single quantum computer stock could go to zero tomorrow and no one would care, right? Because it's holders obviously, but it is zero of the S&P 500 and 0% of the Qs and really 0% of even the small caps. So I just wonder if we're
it's no contribution to the actual economy, any actual metrics.
Right. So I wonder if it's just going to be, okay, so do we have a bubble in quantum computers? Probably. And then it just goes to zero. And then, right, is this Beyond Meat stupid? Yeah. But, it comes and it goes. And then you have pictures of rocks and monkeys and like all kinds of, but these are just all like, everything is so kind of siloed because I think everyone's tethered to 2008, right? The quote that I heard was everyone watched The Big Short and, thinks that's how you trade now is by finding like a systemic fraud in the system. Right. But it's unless it hits like banks and really systemic
Which could happen in regionals, but
like who cares? But yeah, so I looked at it. If you take every regional bank in the US and you sum up the market cap, it's 1/4 of Netflix or 1/4 of Nvidia. Right? Every bank in the world, every bank out there, it's like all of these things are tiny. So I just wonder if the economy has just gotten so big that it would have to be like another COVID or like something that affects the entire country to actually like do a sustained, like tariffs, right, was something that brought us in, and that kind of makes sense because that affects everything. Or inflation, right, that affects everything. And now, when we're seeing these like really speculative BS plays, are they just going to come and go, and then there's going to be a bunch of, we're basically transferring money from some retail traders to another group of traders and then back again? And it just doesn't affect everything in the long run. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking.
All right, there you go, Peloton. Let's go. Break 820s and let's really start to fly now. Looking good here, guys. Appreciate you, Steve.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
working. Awesome. I'm glad.
Come on, man.
Hughes,
You
on the
know I
other
don't
hand,
shy.
nah,
Nice.
I've been
You know I don't
feeling so
shy.
great today. I'm not trading in size. I'm like feeling kind of sick, to be honest. So
Dude, I got the conference plague, bro.
oh, I heard.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
My brain was feeling like COVID, man. Let's just say that much.
I'm sorry to hear, man. You feeling a little better now, though?
A little bit. Still not there just yet. That's why the funded accounts on the sidelines, and I'm just trying to keep it simple. I'm like looking at my net P&L and just like trying to just play the game small and just keep riding it right now. But the truth is, when you don't feel fresh, you just shouldn't be playing with your top size.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So that's where I'm at. I'm taking it easy today. I'm just hanging out, watching
Yeah.
Hughes look like they want to puke on Vixpiration.
I don't want to jinx anything, but I woke up today just a little off there from
Little off. Something
so I
off.
wonder if I'm getting like a delayed
Delayed one. Yeah.
hit.
I think honestly it was like for me either a combination, right? Like I know there's like these new things that people are talking about, like where it's like COVID's like combining with cold or flu and kind of creating new strains. I think that's what it was. I think it was a new strain, but it's not in a negative like put you in the hospital. At least shouldn't for majority of people. But definitely I felt it because I know what COVID is. I really think I was one of the first people to get COVID here in the United States because I used to work at a hotel and I used to deal with Delta Airlines, like major hub, and these pilots would come in and they're flying like internationally, like left and right, and those are the guys that get sick first, guys. If you want to know, the pilots get sick the first. They know it right off the back if there's like sicknesses out there, because they're just like literally in these planes nonstop, plus in airports nonstop, and plus hotels nonstop. So you could just imagine that kind of stacking up. Easy recipe for you to get sick, right? You're going into rooms that are not yours. You're going into, planes that are not yours, and that's just it adds up.
And was that around when was it?
It
Like
was right
October, November-ish?
before, right 2 weeks before everything shut down here. And
man.
I can tell you, Steve, I felt perfectly fine. Perfect. Like great day. I'm on the desk. I deal with this pilot and whatever. I don't deal with it, right? And just send him off to his room. And it wasn't within, I took a break there. It was a 30-minute break. And by the time I came back from the break, I was already in fever and already like getting shivers, and I couldn't even stand at the desk anymore. And they told me to go home, and I was sick for like 2 weeks.
That's rough, man.
And I didn't know what it was until and then I started looking and started thinking, did I get COVID? And I was like, the way that I felt, man, I've never ever. I'm not one of those types of people that are to like get sick and then just like I want to go home.
Yeah.
Very rare do I get sick in the first place. That's why I was even stunned to get sick in the
Wow, look at
conference.
this. Oh my goodness. Sorry to interrupt.
What happened there?
Ooh,
Nice.
downside. Be careful.
That felt like stops hitting. Because that was an instant just spike
Ooh.
down.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
range that I've been talking about, there's probably a lot of stops hanging out at that zone.
Protection time.
Just blew through them.
Watching this Peloton like a hawk right now to see if it recovers. If not, just going to cancel out because the way the market is, like I always talk about it, if the market just comes down on you, sometimes it can ruin a trade.
Yeah.
Like
Holy.
Beyond Meat is just looking great. That's why I'm staying in. But at the same time, be careful out there if you're not in short squeeze types of plays.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
that was a big one.
yeah, I'm not having just checked my, my swing account. Not having the best day here.
Yeah,
Edge
I
is
think
treading water, but not enough.
swings are hard right now, man. I
Hmm.
personally think it's just time to either very little size or no play at all.
Yep.
And in this case, since I'm not feeling well, I'm going with the no play at all.
Yeah, I'm oof. Yep. I'm gonna
Just
just
like that. And
systemically de-risk here as we go. Got
Peloton,
stopped out of some.
Peloton starting to set up for me to get washed too. So like it's just not the day to put the big risk on. So just be careful out there, traders.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, right. You look at it, we're still inside just this candle. So
Right.
if we even go down to fill this gap that happened, that's 664. That's a long way, and then we're still inside of this. Call it whatever this crash was, the liquidation event in crypto's range. So like we talked about this morning, I mentioned I'm not trusting any rally. If we get to the highs here, I'm not really trusting any sell off here. I'll just mark the low of this candle. I look at all of this as just choppy nightmare junk.
Yeah. And
So
well, Peloton right back to me, and then at this point, I'm about to just end it. Yeah, let's just get out. Let's just be safe on a day like today where the
yeah,
spies just keeps breaking low.
happens.
There's a new low right there broken. There's no need play. I'm gonna call it a day. I'm at 109. I took the loss there, and I could have hold on for a little bit longer, but I'm just done. Just done for the day. Not seeing it. And even though Peloton, I could have maybe got 30 or 40 bucks there. It's not my return that I'm looking for. Some people are like, well, just run for the little cash. That doesn't do you anything because when you run for that little cash, you start to develop this whole, oh, I need to run for little cash mentality.
Yeah.
So I'm a believer that if it doesn't give you the return you're looking for, it's okay to just okay, you took your loss, right? That's why you take trades. So at this point, I think Peloton can even keep going, but there's just no point with the way that the market's looking like today to take more bets, unless you're taking bets on the downside.
That's where I'm at. I man, I might just. I'm debating whether I close my hedge here. It's pretty deep in the money, and now it's covering my positions. Now that it's in the money and cooking, but that could change if we bounce. I'm trying to do the mental math here. I think I hold
Well,
on
and just
now because the market still is looking pretty weak, and we've got room below.
yeah, and again, the way I look at it is we're just still inside this prior. Like nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Right. The SPY is down 0.25% on the day. We're in the nothing ever happens phase of the market where we could be choppy like this. And we mentioned this earlier is we've got Tesla earnings, we got a lot of things coming up. We're stuck inside
Oh,
this giant range that is also stuck inside this little range.
Mhm.
And between all those things, we got nothing going on. Right.
Yeah.
So just,
boom.
you know,
All right,
buy
guys.
dips, sell rips.
That just dipped back down to the 790s and just tells me more and more, right? Like that's what you do because you see the leakage. The leakage comes and just starts spreading. The VIX seems like an okay maybe play, but that's if you want to play the VIX. You know how I am. I like to sometimes just scalp the VIX and then ride the momentum wave.
Yeah, I'm looking for man. Where's the target? Are we going to 605 on Qs, fill in that last gap?
Swing FLNC is definitely falling off. That one doesn't seem too bad to swing down. This BE is breaking down also. So Bloom Energy, and we could finally start seeing a little bit of this bubble going poof.
Mm-hmm.
We have Oscar the Grouch selling. We've
Oscar's
got
grouchy, no doubt about it.
with XLV at highs of the day. So healthcare is ripping. So this one's kind of bucking that trend.
Yeah, it's a breakout back test or it's just a rejection. It's got such high short interest that it's hard to tell. Last time I thought it was a back test, and it sure wasn't. So
It's only
Oh, there
big.
it is.
It's big health, at least from what I'm seeing out there.
big level here on Qs for me. This is 666 essentially.
Ooh.
Like a Merck
Spooky.
or Johnson and Johnson or a Lilly is doing well today. BSX is another kind of AI player that I've been kind of keeping an eye on.
They're robotics, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, maybe I'd take the hedge off here and then just close longs if they stop working, because this is kind of a lot fast. But hey, it's still heavy. Okay. I'll hang
Need
out.
coming back down.
Oh no.
Just watching here in the spot. I think we've gotten far enough past that this doesn't feel like it was just a like stop and run. It would have to bounce real hard, real quick.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with Walter Bloomberg here on Twitter, and there's no news there. So I just look at this. This is just wake me up when the range is resolved kind of price action, which is fine. It's kind of annoying to trade. So what I did there is to trade some of these things. So I just took some of the shorts I had. I had like this Ranny, and it worked out really well. It was short up here. Kind of the 370s, went
It
down to the
worked out.
320s.
Nice.
I took some of that off the table. Just pay yourself $1 here or there, just because it's range bound. So then if we bounce, I'll take some of the longs. Like I also took, I didn't mention this one, but
That one looks like it could really
Flowers.
drop. That one looks like the hangover short now.
Flowers.com, like from when I used to watch Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast.
Yeah.
Like
That's
one of the
literally it.
first-
800 flowers.
That's
So I-
why.
1-800 because you can't buy flowers anywhere else.
It
Okay.
yeah,
Why
picked
not?
this up at 480. I don't know why. I don't know if this is earnings or what happened here, but this is just looking at this is the big prior day's move, and it pulled back and kind of half back of that move. So obviously this whole part of the candle wasn't part of the equation. It was just looking at yesterday's candle. So I'm long a little bit there. So then if we bounce here on the markets any significant amount, I'll take some of that off, and just playing the whole kind of market making game.
Yeah.
Cover things when they sell, and sell things when we bounce, and rinse and repeat. What happens to hymns?
It's a boring
I don't
type
know.
of day,
Hymns
at
and
least on that side.
would hymns and Oscar kind of be, because they look the same?
Yeah, they're both.
I don't know if they'd be.
They both suck. So that's how it feels.
I don't
to own them.
Ballet, that
like-
stock hasn't turned around. I watched that go through 11, but it's such a boring stock right now. Interesting setup there, but
Ooh, Q is still just looking terrible. Look at that.
it's all around, man. And when I go through my list, and I literally only see from the day only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names in the green from the open, from a list of 71.
Yikes.
Yes, you heard that right, guys. 5 green from the open from 71, what I would consider momentum names. That's a bubble breaking. It could be breaking right underneath your feet. So if you haven't taken your money, well, let's just, I can tell you from a guy that's done a lot of swing trading, the market will take your money if you leave it there.
Well,
No doubt about
if a
that.
bubble breaking is down 0.27%,
It's not the
that is
SPY,
the
though.
weakest.
It's not the SPY.
yeah,
Like,
again,
you're
it's
being
these local
distracted,
ones.
man. Come on, man. It's about stocks that are down 50, 60, 70% now from their high. That's a bubble breaking. And like you said it yourself, because I'm going to catch your talk yesterday. You said it that we could start seeing bubble breaks in certain areas and the market stay strong. So this is exactly that. Bubbles can break and it
Or-
not affect the overall market.
Are they nice pullback opportunities? Like I'm looking at IONQ down.
Dude, that now you
10
sound like
days in
you're
a
buying
row.
knives now. Now you're sounding like Steve and I, bro. Come on.
Buy the dip. Right? Buy the dip.
I
Come
don't know
on,
about buying
man.
knives. Maybe if they were a pyramid company selling knives, then I could get on board with
Yeah,
it.
man. These
Well,
are
what's
no
HLF
fundamental. You don't buy dips on no fundamental names. Because when the momentum breaks on no fundamental names, there's no underlying support. This is why I believe in multiple variables. This is why I do believe in fundamentals. I know a lot of people don't, but I still believe that at some point, momentum can drive, right? Story and momentum can drive. That causes technical breakouts, right? But when the overall market either turns on you or momentum turns on you, it falls back on quality. And quality falls into the fundamental stage, right? And so that's when you start to see these big whoosh downs on these stocks because there is no underlying fundamentals. There is nobody can tell me like the value of these. Even if you look at the book value or whatever you want to kind of use in your fundamentals to be like, yeah, this is where the price should be. That's what happens. Like let's say even Palantir doesn't have the best fundamentals. Look at Palantir. With all the contracts in the world, look how it's falling. It's falling fast. So like those people that think they can just hide out in Palantir, I think this might be the slow end to Palantir. Really? You know how Steve, I told you not to swing account on the side? This tells me short Palantir on a swing. This tells me short Palantir on the swing. Like this could be the beginning of that end of Palantir. When you look at the chart right now, it looks like it's telling you it's the end. Right?
It does look like it's the start of distribution, doesn't it? I mean, these were you're seeing this in multiple baskets or sector leaders from the bottom last time. I'm seeing the same thing potentially on like Hood.
Yeah. And I think, this is where you got to be careful. The party's not going to last forever, guys. The party's been good, but the party's not going to last forever. And you know who keeps the money? The guy that just stops saying, like, this is the dip to buy.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't go and buys the knife because you buy the knife today and tomorrow it's lower. And then you're just stabbing yourself further and further in the ground, man.
Well, what's the guy? But is that the guy who never bought any of the dips? Right. So like,
you
it's
just
like
gotta
you
be
need
smart.
a magic wand to know. Because I know people who, they didn't buy the tariff tantrum dip. They didn't buy the Iran war dip. They didn't buy the.
I know you bot guys don't believe in feelings, but it's about feelings. And as you trade for a long time, like I've seen tons of swing traders right now that are just like, yeah, it's time to go on a vacation. I heard some guy tell me, I saw him on Twitter. He was like, yeah, it's time to go on a vacation. And I was like, yeah, you're a smart man. I just wrote a comment. You're a smart man. Because that's what you do. You don't want to trade? Stop looking.
Yeah, straight up.
Just
That's
stop.
kind of where I'm at.
Just stop
I took
looking.
another stop out there. I feel I'm done.
Stop
I'm
looking.
done for the day.
The only thing that
I'm
makes sense
making-
for me is longer term shorts right now. That's the
Yeah,
only
making
thing that,
list.
at least for today, makes sense for me.
Meanwhile, I'm on my 6th swing trade. Finally, I got no swing trades all this week. I don't know what an REKR is, but picked up some of that.
Okay.
MIGI. Don't know what that is either. Right. So these are this purple line. This is the bot trigger. A Mawson Infrastructure Group. Well, that sounds great. And a Recor Systems. A little bit of buy there, and then ATAI came in earlier, which is a psychedelic play. All these things on the pullback because that's what the bot says to do. So that's what we do, and so far, kind of about flat in all of them. My flowers.com is not working out too well. Some of the shorts are like the Ranny.
Got
The
the
Ranny's
longs on the
doing
run.
okay.
You got the longs on the run now, I think. I think you got the longs on the run. I think they're like me today. I was feeling like the market could break out. It was hanging out right there, and they probably all started dip buying, and here it goes, guys. They might get their face stuffed today.
Yeah, I just don't know if I want to take big bets about that with earnings just on the horizon, right? So say Tesla comes out and just smashes earnings tonight.
That's how they do it to you, right? They'll just
All the other
wash
ones
it
might
all
just
day
smash.
long. They'll bleach
Right.
you dry, and then they'll bring it back with Tesla.
And then and then the dudes who bought the dip are laughing again. And again, I agree at some point it'll be a dumb thing to buy the dip, but I just think trying to guess that beforehand means that you never bought the bombing Iran dip, you never bought the tariff tantrum dip, you never bought the cooking oil crisis of 2025, right? You didn't buy all this way up. So then, if you never buy the dip, I'd rather buy it 10 times and be wrong once
Yep.
right, than to not buy it at all and just not have participate in what was one of the greatest. Say this is the end, right? We're down 0.3%, right? But like, say this was the end, I buy the dip here. Well, I think one of my accounts up 155% this year. I'd rather take a hit from there and then maybe end the year up only 100% than
Mhm.
to, right, be sitting in cash for too long,
Hmm.
and just miss this just monstrous bull market that we had in just across the board and pretty much everything.
Michael, it's the
Like
meme where it's
stable.
like, it's a bubble, right? You're going to lose 50% in the crypto,
Yeah.
and it's some guy who's down 5% on the year saying that in value stocks, and the crypto dude's up 500%. He's like, okay, I don't
Well, and
care.
it just you look at this chart. There's tons of we've had 5 bear markets in the
Mhm.
last. Let's just even just do the last like 5 years,
Mhm.
right? So we had 2019, 2020 was the only one that took out the low of a bear market before it.
Dude,
Then we had this
that
bear market, right? Then we had this bear market, right?
Yeah.
So, the
buying
guy
on
up
that.
here, it's like the guy, I told you so, and it's like, yeah, but we're still above where we were in 20. Were you long in 2022 to say I told you so? Like, it just seems weird.
Let's expand the conversation here. I'm gonna bring in what I told you guys I was gonna bring in here a little bit earlier. Let's listen into a little bit about sizing up, and I think he actually
Oh,
gives you a little bit of
Mhm.
some lessons here. At the last thing we're gonna expand on it a little bit here, but let's listen in on this. This was posted,
Well,
Michael.
first, let's, because
Yeah,
yeah, I sent this one,
preference
and
it,
some people
preference it.
may not know who
Yeah,
Stanley Druckenmiller is,
yeah.
and
So
he's he's a
that's this guy.
billionaire hedge fund manager, George Soros' disciple. He's one of the first and kind of proudest technical hedge fund managers out there. Uses some fundamental in it, but I can't even pronounce the name. It's like DeCusany. I don't know. It's some French thing.
Duquesne,
Capital Quain.
Duquesne.
Is
I don't
that
know.
really how you pronounce that? There's an
Duquesne.
S in there.
I don't know.
Well, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, huge multi-billion-dollar fund. This guy's been going since like the 80s. Just a legend. Again, a
Yeah.
technician and a
Legend.
just
Legend indeed,
huge
guys. And he's
legend
giving
in the hedge
lessons
fund
here
space.
about sizing up. We're going to expand a lot about sizing up, but I think part of also what the sizing up thing is what he gives you at the very end. And I think that's part of what I think today is about. It's like if you took that cut, we'll talk a little bit about it. Let's listen in.
Exchange and local market traders from the Americas and a few from Asia and Europe here today to talk about, over the next 2 days, how to grow your risk.
How to grow?
How to grow your risk, how to take more, how to get bigger. You seem to have no problem driving it, although you had help from a mentor to push yourself to get bigger, to take more risk. Are there any other, besides having someone push you, what helps you be confident enough to step it up to the level?
I think you just have to follow, whatever your style or whatever your system is, you just have to follow a disciplined pattern, and you have to teach yourself that you're good. I mean, I can remember in '87 and '88. In '87, I caught the crash, and I was on a couple magazine covers, so I was really smart, okay, but I was convinced we were going into a depression. And '88, the stock market kept going. I can remember getting up 2 nights a week, throwing up and thinking, oh my God, I went to Bowdoin, I never got a degree. I can't be a plumber, what am I gonna do? This might be random. I might have just gotten lucky for 6 years because we were a bull market playing a trend. And I had made 42% a year compounded, and I was thinking that way. So it's not easy, but I think if you follow a disciplined system, you just have to watch your own results, and you have to believe in yourself, and success breeds success. And again, one of the things with me is I know when I'm hot and I know when I'm cold, and you have to learn to play big when you're on a streak. A lot of times when I'm cold, I'll just start trading really small, and the whole purpose of the trading is to find out when I've got it again. And every once in a while, you'll think you'll got it, and you hit 8 in a row, and then you bet big, and ooh, I missed. And that's tough. That's probably the toughest thing you could ever do. That's the old whipsaw term. But you just have to dust yourself off. But I would say the way to get big is follow discipline, watch yourself, and then just grow organically. What I would never do, ever, is if you swing and you miss, is put on a big trade just to get even. I got to get out of the trap. That's a death sentence.
All right, there, guys. A lot of little nuggets in there. Before we talk about the size part, I think like right now it's kind of one of those trades where I think traders have been stepping up, stepping up, stepping up, and that you might have just finally taken like that first big shellacking with this spy down move. And that's why I'm kind of more on the sideline of just like kind of wait here versus just trying to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, because this could be that part where if you keep doing it, you're just gonna really blow back some of the gains that you gave that you just got from stepping up, right? And so the number one thing, at least for me, that I've been learning in my sizing journey is that it's all about knowing when to hit the gas pedal, but then also the brake pedal. In this case, I think it's clearly the brake pedal. It's not now I want to go and step up and buy dips around the market, because at this point, the uncertainty is growing and the certainties in the markets are very slim. There's very slim, perfectly looking charts. There's now a lot of kind of consolidation, and we're in correction modes. And this is usually when some are going to break back down to where they came from, and some will rise up to the top because they actually have good fundamentals. But at this point, you don't know which way it's going to go. And which ones are going to actually be there, right? You actually have to do the deep fundamental analysis to understand which ones can and like kind of stay up here for a longer period of time. So we can talk more about sizing, but what do you guys think, at least just on that aspect?
Well, I'd say the first thing is everything he said there, you have to preface with, he started with your system. And it's one of those, a lot of people don't have a system. They don't have right? They'll draw some squiggly lines. They'll say, this is what I think is going to happen today. They'll say, look at this. They don't have a system. So everything he was mentioning there was in the concept of, this is what my system tells me to do. And sometimes I feel really good, so maybe I'll trade a little bit bigger. And sometimes I'll feel poorly and I'll trade a little bit smaller. But I would always just go back, because again, I know most traders they haven't done step one. They don't have any kind of system for their trades, or they're going entirely off of feel. So the biggest thing with that, with Stanley there, is as a technician, he was a pure kind of systems guy way before they were cool. And that doesn't mean it was like coded and auto traded or anything like that, but he had I'm going to do this, and this is the main reason for it, and here's my system. And then he would apply this kind of position sizing methodology on top of that.
Michael,
So
I hate to break
again,
it to you, but systems trading still isn't cool. But
like it's fine, but yeah, that's the main thing, because a lot of people will just go based off what they feel. But the problem is, like, you could get in a fight with your wife and feel like crap, and it has nothing to do with the market. You could be trading, you should be trading really big, but you're just you're a little bit sick, or you stubbed your toe, or you stepped on a Lego block, which is a real dad problem. But so step one is to make sure that whatever you're doing is based in data, right? You're going back and you're saying, okay, it's time to size down, because the last few trades that I took based off my system weren't working, and not, I just don't feel good this day, right? And then if your last few systems trades were working great in your system, then it's time to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of feelings and emotions and all that kind of stuff.
I like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think? At least on that, where you're sized up, you take in, and then you finally take in a big cut. Let's say if it was today, what do you say to those traders out there?
I am that trader out there. I just took I was up huge
Yeah.
on my account, and now I'm down. I'm having a minus 6% day on the gamble options account, because I took some stops on swings all at the same time, because the market said, "Hey, we're done." So I'm not worrying about it too much, because I already made the money, and I knew I'd have to give some of it back if I was playing with this risk profile. In my safe account, I'm not worried, but in this one, I would say that being an adult about it, and accepting that I was wrong on the continuation, and if it catches, then I'll be an adult about it and say, hey, well, I'll buy back in. Until then, I'm sitting and I'm waiting for my system to fire, and until then, I actually feel this is a very common thing for me, where I get so stressed when things are going against me, but then once I get stopped out, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do something else. So that's what I would recommend. Go do something else if you took a
I
big
think
loss.
that's a big thing to focus on. I always try to talk about this is our power as traders, right? Like, I've taken my bot, the day trading bots up and up pretty nicely today. Swing trades are taking a little bit of a hit, but you just got to focus on your main power as a retail trader, which is the ability to go to cash instantly and then rebuy everything instantly, right? So you could just go to cash. You could be in cash, go to cash right now. And then if we bounce this afternoon, you could just be right back in, and you'll be in a slightly worse price than everything. But we just got to remember that that's our power. Like, he's speaking as a hedge fund manager, and you have to always understand the difference is our ability just to go, listen, today, like, both you and Mitch mentioned down a little bit today, you could take the afternoon, and then you could come back on the close and you can make a whole bunch of money back if it's, the market's being a
That's
little
if
bit
you have
more.
That's if you have that opportunity.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I
right.
don't get that one. So
Another thing, just to tie another
yeah.
Drucken, I can't say his name, Druck quote. He was talking about buying the top of some bubble, and he
Yeah.
was saying, I knew I shouldn't have bought, but everything was screaming, and so I bought, and then I was down billions in like a few days. And it's like, what did I learn? Nothing. I knew I shouldn't have bought. So for me this morning, I knew I should have sold everything. I knew that it was super weak. I just kind of got frozen, was overwhelmed, and so I was like, I got my hedge on, I'm fine. So I lost money. I didn't lose as much, but I would be up a massive amount if I just shut the things down and rode the short.
Yeah.
So
And
always pivot fast.
this is where I also am in the camp, Steve. And that's why you see me like get so quickly, like I'm like, no. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not buying the dip. You know what I mean? Like, there's no question in my head now. Oh, do I go buy the dip? No, really, there's nothing in me that feels it. And when I have those types of feelings as a subjective trader, I think that you stick to it because this is what this game is about. It's about building decision-making skills. And as you hear for long periods of time, you learn price action. And if you're not, well, then maybe this game's just not for you, right? But I know after like 8 or 9 years, I know when things are looking like a turn and this is looking like a turn. So I tell myself, no. You know what I mean? You rode the wave and it's been so great. And trust me, I can tell you because I can show you equity curves, right? Equity curves don't lie. They're just like, okay, it just keeps going up. It keeps going up. I know it's going to take a hit sometime.
Yep.
So you have to just be prepared for those moments.
And Mitch, just to piggyback on that, because I think
Yeah.
it's so important. I want to air myself out here. I'm down 12% from my gamble account highs a couple days ago, and you know what I'm doing? I'm not chasing anything. I'm not trying to make it back. I'm thinking, okay, I'm still up double from the beginning of the month. Am I going
Exactly.
to give that back? Am I
Yeah.
going to give any of it back just because I have the urge? Blood's in the water.
To
Nah,
trade.
I'm good. I'm going to chill. I'm going to wait until I see a fat pitch that got me the double. I'll take that again.
And it's very easy to just come right back in, right? That's what this market can do. It'll give you thousands of opportunities and then some, right? Today, just itself. And so I think that that's what we sometimes traders get to is I think it's also more to do with kind of either you're subjective or not, because if you're on a bot, you don't have that option. You just literally can maybe shut down the bot if you wanted to, but really you're just letting it decide for you. And I think that this is the key if you're a subjective trader. You're just trying to build up your decision-making skills. And then at some point, start doing what? What did he first say? And I think this is very important. I'm going to come back to it because I think it's so important. It's also understanding that you're good, right? Like, understand that you're good. Once you develop those skills and you know how to read charts, you guys damn know. I've caught enough runners here in the last 3 or 4 months to know that I'm good. Now it's about believing in your own abilities, right? No longer feeling like you can't believe in it. You've seen it time in, time out that you can do this game if you stay smart.
Right.
If
That's
you
so
stay
key.
smart.
Because Mitch, if you have that mindset, if you're able to keep that in front of you, that hey, this is a sustainable skill set. I am going to the river and fishing because I know how to fish. I don't care
Exactly.
what fish is in front of me on any given day. If the fish is there, I'll throw the rod in. If not, then
Yeah. If this is not the end of the short-term bubble, then that's okay too.
yeah,
Right? We can just come back when the momentum comes back. That's my thing too. I'm definitely not seeing momentum out there right now. And until I see that, I'm not going to go and size up. If anything, I'm going to review the size that I did today and I'm going to cut that by even further tomorrow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you said that's so. So this is a Mark Minervini concept, or at least I learned it from him. I'm sure it's a much older concept, but
Yeah.
just it's basically what why can't I say his name? What the Druck is saying. He's
What the
saying
Druck?
when you're locked in, you play big. When you're not, you size small. When trades
Yep.
start going against you, you incrementally, systematically size down. So you're trading your biggest at your best and your smallest at your worst.
That's it.
Makes
And
sense.
that's the game to play. And that's what I
Well, and
think
that's you
that's
can
the
do
risk
that
return
naturally
game.
too, is just the size of your account. That's why most traders will take a percentage risk of the value of their account. So, they say a 0.25% or something like that, because then you're kind of naturally, without having to think about it, leaning into compounding, where you're just saying, okay, as my account gets bigger, as things go well, I'm taking more and more risk per trade, even though the percentage value is the same. The dollar value will increase. And as the size goes the other way, which it most naturally will, I'm naturally sizing down. And by doing that, things were definitely helping out. Now, let's continue to have this conversation, because the market has just been ripping the entire time we've been chatting. So let's continue to yap here as we encroach back on VWAP. Yeah, and I don't know what this is. I just wanted to show that this trade. I was like, oh, this is an interesting dip buy that I had, and then I read it, because I bought some of this. I don't know, both a swing and a day, and then it's a
UTG.
utility income fund. Like, so that's boring.
Utility
So it's
income fund.
How is
it's
that? How is that
literally,
moving that much? I'm so
I know,
confused.
and that's why I need to look into it, because it
That's
listed as an
scary.
investment trust / mutual fund. So it makes me think it's like a REIT or something like that. But
Whoever's
what?
running this one,
How does
yeah,
an
this
income
is,
fund on a REIT go down for
I
what is that?
know,
10%?
no, I mean
yeah,
from the
in like a
42, we're
straight line.
talking about 10%. Yeah.
Yeah,
What in the world?
11%. So yeah, so I picked up a little bit of this, and just to go through some of the trades, right? I don't know if I mentioned this CIB
I I don't know if
short
they're
that.
pitching this one at the money show, Michael.
Bring it
It
on,
seems like a
Trader
money
GP,
show
baby.
product, right?
It seems like a money
Uh,
show product there. They're like, oh, the old people, put your millions in this one.
yeah, still short Ranny, still short Beyond Meat. That has actually been the
That's
most boring stock for doing a billion. We have now crossed a billion shares in
it's
volume.
it's actually not
1.05
bearish. That's the hardest part. The
billion
hourly's
shares.
still well
It looks
developing.
like
It looks
it's
better up here.
nuts.
Am I crazy? Sure, we have the 3 gap ups, but like it's volatility is compressing.
Yeah.
It's not getting
Well,
more spiky.
give it a couple days of like a chill out, or give it a nice dip that gets bought. That to me
Mhm.
is in these, it's always, you want to see a dip come in and have people not just abandon it entirely, right? If
Exactly.
a dip comes in and there's buyers there, then you're like, well, shit, maybe it might be like Carvana is going to be the absolute perfect
Mm.
example for these kind of turnaround stories. And you have to
What
go
a
all the
name.
way back, but it had this insane, like, this was the move on
So
Carvana, is not to chase this initial move up, but when it came in and it didn't just retrace, because we see these all the time, right? The thing
Mhm.
pops up and then they're just right back down. But when it holds on and starts to grind higher, you're like, well, shit, they didn't run for the door the second the first kind of down tick happened. You might be onto something there.
Dude, you are killing me with that chart. I longed Carvana at 9.89 and I got stopped out at 8. So
Wow. Don't worry, man. You just missed a 5,000% gainer. That
yeah,
should
it's not
be
like
all
it would
right,
have
man.
changed the entire trajectory of my life or anything. Whatever.
We
Whatever.
got SPY popping, ripping back through VWAP. I may take another shot on Netflix if it gets through VWAP today. It's a long way from there, but SPY popping back through VWAP now, only down 0.1% on the SPY, which puts us about 2.5 or 0.25% or 0.3% from all-time highs. Just going a little bit around. I know we're a little bit over. Just do a little bit of a wrap up. Qs back to all time highs. IWM is the laggard. So we're seeing some sort of move in big cap tech, and that's pushing us through here, right? IonQ just ripping, almost positive on the day after being down 3%. Right, a lot of these names, just a pretty big turnaround here for now. Right, let's just keep in mind, for me, all of this, like I said, going into today, I don't trust the dip. I don't trust the rip. I don't trust any of it. Let's get Netflix out of the way, and then let's break out of this range, either to the, or not Netflix, Tesla out of the way, and then break either to the up or downside, and then maybe we get a sustained move. Till then, it's just choppy nightmare out there.
We'll see what happens. Like always, guys, it's not easy in this market, and